Gaming news today is covering a whole host of things. We've got rumors and somebody claiming they've spoken to somebody at Xbox Game Studios indicating there are more and bigger games coming to PlayStation. Some of these right now are in development, both for the PS5 and the PS5 Pro. We will look at who said it, what they said, and why I actually find it to be pretty believable given the setting. Then, the Horizon Zero Dawn Remaster has been broken down by Digital Foundry, and their skepticisms have almost entirely been put to rest as they are largely very impressed by it. And we have Black Ops 6 Game Pass advertising being scrutinized. Two different outlets having very different opinions on how Call of Duty Black Ops 6 is a make-or-break moment for Game Pass, and yet some think it hasn't been advertised all that much. I also have more games to put on your wish list and your radar. Now, if you like this kind of daily gaming news talk show as well as uploads, I have an upload that went up just this morning arguing that PlayStation is sunsetting Bungie, so that discussion might come up again today. Make sure and check out that upload, hit like, and leave a comment. You may get featured in a live show when you do that. And if you want to support us directly here on this channel, you can hit that join button and make sure you pick Member Plus. That will get you into the green room as well as gameplay, sort of behind the scenes content that you get when you're a paying member. So let's just jump right into this and make sure you guys are hitting that like button, those of you that are already here live. Allegedly, there are more games coming to PS5. Mag, also known as Middle-Aged Gamer Guy, was on MM2K's Gaming News podcast. Now, MM2K is a friend of the show. We've interacted both in DMs and on Twitter, and I really appreciate them. And Mag is also a mutual on Twitter. Has always been very nice to me. We've DM'd a couple of times, and he's getting quite a bit of grief for what he claimed and what he said. And I'll be honest, it sounded like he was just relaying information that he was told. Doesn't seem like a clout chase or to get notoriety. He was just on a friendly podcast. He was not on his main podcast. He wasn't invited to some show where he was sort of trying to flex. It seemed like just a friendly conversation. And I feel like that makes it far more believable. He wasn't using this to sort of increase his clout or his fame. He was just sharing something with some of the people that he was talking to. So what did he say exactly? Well, he rattled off a bunch of games that are coming to both the PlayStation 5 and the PlayStation 5 Pro. Now, Doom the Dark Ages and Indiana Jones, he acknowledged, listen, we already know that. That's not a secret. That's not a surprise. But then he moved on to others. He mentioned Avowed is currently right now being worked on for the PS5 and the PS5 Pro, as well as Blade for the 5 and the Pro, Perfect Dark for the 5 and the Pro, and Fable for the 5 and the Pro. And we were just watching the trailer for Gears of War E-Day, which is currently in co-development for Xbox and PlayStation, according to Mag. Now, he did say that day and date is possible but not confirmed, and he was speaking with someone from inside Xbox Game Studios. And he said when it comes to Halo, the Halo remake is not one that is coming, he heard, or that's not the one that he was told. That one still is rumored to be coming, but that's not what he was speaking about. He said the new mainline Halo to PS5 and the Pro, and possibly the PS6, depending on how long the development cycle takes place, or how long it takes to bring it to the market. So Avowed, to me, that's the big question, because it's going to be 30 FPS and it got delayed. Is the delay related to the PS5 version at all? None of the others, honestly, surprise me. I've been sort of expecting, as many people sort of jeer and cheer, and they like to rub it in the Xbox guys' faces by saying full slate. But I mean, I've kind of expected that to be the reality, that we would be looking at a full slate of games coming over, and that there really wouldn't be a reason to hold back. Once you start bringing some of your biggest titles, once you start bringing some of your biggest pieces of property over, especially when we learned that Diablo 4 was going to be PlayStation 5 Pro Enhanced, it was like, I just don't see a reason to hold anything back. It doesn't seem like Xbox is concerned with exclusivity anymore. And to me, what he said is very believable, and obviously we'll see that come out to fruition very quickly. And people are dismissing him, saying, well, they gave him a score on Reddit about, I guess, reliability. I guess there are insider or leak reliability meters, and I guess he scored a 6 or something. I think that's kind of funny. I believe him, and the reason I believe him is this isn't the first time we've been here. This is maybe the second or third time we have heard, oh yeah, these games are going. Everybody gets angry, says it sounds like a bunch of bogus crap, and that they don't believe it, and then it ends up happening. Like, I don't know how many times we have to go through this rigmarole before people realize that these games are going, there's not really a reason to keep them exclusive. So, the next big thing I want to talk about is the Horizon Dawn Remaster. It got a breakdown from Digital Foundry. Now, their doubts and their skepticism is even mentioned in the description of this video. They said, we had doubts, we were skeptical, all right? And then John Linneman even admits in the opening of the video, when they first announced Horizon Zero Dawn Remastered, he thought it was kind of silly, but then he describes it as a, quote, robust remaster that manages to greatly enhance the visuals while introducing a full suite of options. Now, here you see them comparing performance mode and the resolution mode. John surprisingly recommends the performance mode because he felt that the image quality was so strong, you're better off in performance mode. Now, in the past, like in Final Fantasy 16, he actually preferred and recommended the quality mode. So this is a pretty strong endorsement for him to say, hey, you really want to use the performance mode. And he actually argued and said that performance is by and large perfect, and it pretty much holds a target frame rate perfectly. So whatever the target frame rate is, he feels that it holds it perfectly. Now, he does say, and he does give note, that you have to stop and look at the assets to really see the boost in quality, especially when you get to the water comparisons. They've increased the number of unique plants as well, and they've also raised the detail to make it match Horizon Forbidden West. Now, Nixes have also changed some of the plants to match original concept art, but to be more in line with Horizon Forbidden West, and John Linneman said he was very impressed by this. He again acknowledged that just comparing clips is tricky depending on where you are and what you're looking at, right? So, and then when he gets to the water rendering, he actually says that the remaster blew the doors off of what the first game did with water, because he was actually pretty critical of Horizon Zero Dawn's original water rendering, and he thought it was very, not great. And obviously when you see the different settings and the different water being rendered differently, it's like, wow, this is very, very different. Well, then he covered the lighting, and the entire game has been relit by hand with striking results. And so they went through and completely redid all of the lighting. And at this point, John Linneman questions even calling this a remaster. Now, this is something I've been continuing to, make this point, that this looks more like a remake than a remaster. This is such an enormous jump. It's not just like, oh, the resolution's higher and the textures are a little bit nicer. They relit the entire game, completely changed the rendering methods of the water, completely changed the cloud systems. There's significant now new elements of time of day, snow effects on her clothing, so many things. And he said, while this is not as ambitious as Blue Point's work on the Demon's Souls remake, he feels the Horizon Zero Dawn remaster, it really reminds him of the work that they did on the Demon's Souls remake, and the lengths that they went. And he said that they kind of went through this game with a fine-tooth comb, and they, quote, redid basically everything in the game to look properly modern. And I think that's really important to note. Like, this isn't just like a remaster where they raised resolution or added some cool things. They redid entire systems. Now, he also shows just how much pop-in has been removed, which helps an open world just sort of feel better. And when it comes to the dialogue sequences, okay, they have been completely recaptured and recreated. I wanted to try to get some of the side-by-sides of this for you, with how they did these dialogue sequences. If you remember the original Horizon Zero Dawn, one of the main criticisms of that game was that the dialogue sequences were somewhat mannequin-esque, that the people just sort of stood there and they didn't really look all that human, as well as skin looked a little flat. Here, especially he notes, in the cold climates, the skin almost looks fake. And so in this section here, you get a closer look at how everyone looks a little bit more natural. There's also things in the background that won't glitch as much as they have in the past. And here you sort of get a nice side-by-side of the original game compared to the new game, and how much more the characters move around and look more lifelike. And they have brought that to Horizon Zero Dawn so that they look more natural. Now, he says they're not quite to the level of Horizon Forbidden West, but they are a lot closer than before, and they do feel like more natural encounters because the character doesn't just sort of stand there. Now, lastly, he does say that the audio rework and the 3D audio has really improved the experience, and he lets you just sort of listen to a bunch of sequences at the end of the video. And then he ends the video, his sort of final conclusion, and he reiterates just how skeptical he was on multiple occasions when the Horizon Zero Dawn Remaster topic came up, and he concludes that if you own the game, the $10 upgrade is a very fair asking price given how much that has been added and reworked. So Digital Foundry going into this skeptical, thinking this was silly and not necessary, and coming away very, very impressed with pretty much nothing but high praise for the Horizon Zero Dawn Remaster. Now on to the next story. Black Ops 6 and Game Pass is getting some scrutiny, and there was an interesting exchange on Twitter where Tom Warren from The Verge was responding to GameIndustry.biz because their article was saying that Call of Duty Black Ops 6 was a make-or-break moment for Game Pass, and Warren responded by saying the following. He said, if it's make or break, why is there barely any mention of Call of Duty being on Game Pass in the marketing around this release? Even the launch trailer only mentions Game Pass on Xbox channels. Now, I looked into this, and there is a variety of theories and claims going on. Now, earlier this year, some were claiming that they were at an event, and they were told off the record that Xbox was not really allowed to market Call of Duty being on Game Pass. And according to my research, Black Ops 6 is the last Call of Duty that PlayStation has marketing rights to, but then it gets a little confusing because apparently PlayStation now has that contract extended, and it may or may not include marketing rights. We're not really sure what the details of it are, but we do know it has been extended, and we were told that it's better than their previous deal. Now, this could have clauses in it about Game Pass marketing and the presence in trailers if you're not on an official Xbox channel. Maybe that marketing contract dictates that you can't mention Game Pass. PlayStation is marketing Black Ops 6. They had an entire blog post about the game outlining all of the different things coming to it. Now, my initial theory was that Microsoft did not want Call of Duty on Game Pass, and Phil Spencer fought for it because he's sort of saying, like, listen, this is an identity marker of the brand. You can't take this away. My theory then went on to think that if they didn't want it on Game Pass, then when they agreed to this, they would have said, listen, you can't market it that heavily. They don't want to lose money, essentially. We're going to have to obviously see what the marketing looks like for future games if Game Pass starts to take a bit of a back seat and it starts to get downplayed. You have to remember, they raised the price of Game Pass Ultimate right before Black Ops 6 came out, and then they moved day and date to Ultimate. So they're basically saying, listen, we're anticipating a bunch of people signing up for Game Pass just for Call of Duty, and we want them to at the very least be paying more for Game Pass, and they're going to have to sign up for Ultimate. So those changes, I do believe, were made in anticipation of protecting against revenue loss, because putting Black Ops 6 on Game Pass will lead to less sales. I mean, you have 25 million people already on Game Pass. Now, they're not all on Ultimate, so you have, I don't know what the total is. Somewhere, I think, around 15 to 17 million was one of the figures I saw for how many people are on Ultimate. And all of the people that are on the old school Game Pass still get day and date, but if they fall off and jump back in, they'll need Ultimate to get Black Ops 6 day and date. So that's an awful lot of people that don't have to buy the game. I mean, that's a lot of people who would have had to buy this game at full price. And I think Microsoft, not Xbox, I think Microsoft is just thinking very differently about the role of Game Pass and game sales now that they have acquired so much content. So those are some of the main gaming news stories, as well as don't forget to check out my upload about PlayStation sunsetting Bungie. We're kind of covering all brands, all topics on this channel all the time, so make sure you hit subscribe, make sure you hit like. But before I start talking to the audience, I've got some games for your wish lists and your radar. Now, this one came across my attention yesterday because Pirate Software, Thor, was promoting it. I believe he's involved to some degree. It's called Rivals of Aether 2. It is a 2D fighter brawler, and it just released on Steam. It's currently on sale for $26.99, and it currently has an 85% on Steam. Now, the first Rivals of Aether is available on Xbox and Nintendo Switch as well, and they were asked about the sequel coming to other platforms, and they said that they would like it to come to as many platforms as possible, but for now, it is only on Steam. It seemed like it was climbing the sales charts yesterday and doing well, so give this one a look if these are the types of games that you enjoy. If you like these 2D brawler, obviously, they remind us of a couple other games that have come out recently, but this one looks like it's got some moxie and some spirit, so be sure to check it out. Now, this next one is a little creepy, and they're sort of cashing in on the Steamboat Willie going to public domain like we've seen in the Mouse PI, the first-person shooter that we actually covered just this week. It was during the Xbox partner preview. It got a nice showcase. Well, Bad Cheese is landing as a first-person horror game. They describe it as a psychological horror game that is, quote, inspired by the eerie charm of the 1920s animation. Now, I don't know why, but this art style is effective at looking really creepy. We were actually kind of discussing this morning, like, why do old photos, why do old things, why do they look creepy? You know, is there something going on there? But this is actually, I think, a very interesting looking title. You can wishlist it right now. It is coming to PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, and Steam. This is the official announcement trailer that's only about 7 days old. So another game, as I said, kind of cashing in on the Steamboat Willie public domain development. All right. Now, I like to put games on your wish list, but I also like to put games out there that you can play right now. And this was one that my wife and I had been intending to check out. It's called The Crack Pet Show. And this is on all platforms. It's on the old gen Xboxes and PlayStations as well as the next gen PlayStations. It's also on Steam and the Nintendo Switch. Now, this is a twin-stick shooter roguelike in the world of Happy Tree Friends. If you don't remember Happy Tree Friends, funny enough, my wife was the one who introduced me to Happy Tree Friends back in the day. She thought it was hilarious, and it is hilarious, and we've actually been enjoying it. We've beat the first 4 episodes. It's broken up like a show, so there's seasons, there's episodes, and then there's a boss at the end of every episode. Now, the bosses can be a bit tough. They can get a little spammy. Some of their stuff especially can be troublesome when it's like bouncing off of the walls, so your initial dodge might be great, but then you got to kind of watch out. So it can get a little chaotic, as you can see right here, but with the right abilities, you can really melt the bosses and have a really good time, which is what makes Rogues just so fun, is that bite-sized gaming session where you can, you know, enjoy being extra strong. There's also good meta progression in the game. You do have a skill tree, and then there's a currency that you get there. You can upgrade both your weapons and your items. Now, upgrading the weapons and the items, it always spits out 2 to choose from when you go to upgrade, so you can't just go crazy on one particular item, and then there's 4 different starting classes to choose from that have their individual guns and items to start with. So definitely check out the Crack Pet Show if it looks like it's up your alley. Maybe if you're a member, you'll get to catch a Friday night stream with my wife, and we'll give you guys a little look at how we've been enjoying that. We did that with Ember Knights, another rogue I told you guys about that my wife and I had been playing. So just to recap, according to an insider, there are more and bigger games from Xbox coming to PlayStation, and they're in development right now for the PS5 and the PS5 Pro. The Horizon Zero Dawn Remaster has been broken down by Digital Foundry, and their skepticisms have been put to bed. And the Black Ops 6 Game Pass advertising is getting some scrutiny and seems a bit different. And I put some games on your wish list and your radar. So that's the news. And now it's time to talk to you guys in the live audience. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Get us to 200 likes, guys. You guys have been crushing it lately so much. And I have to thank MASH, the man of the hour, as always, did a 20 bomb during the premiere, and then he did a 10 bomb during the show open. So this man alone just jump-started the day up to 346, 30 new members, and then Patrick Q gifted a member before the show was even started and got us to 347, and then B, somebody with the name B, like Bumblebee, takes us to 348 with a VIP renewal. And then my man Donnie with 16 months of membership says, did someone say Diablo? Donnie, you got to be on a member plus so I can count you in the count. I can't tell if a standard membership is gifted or not. So we're trying to get more and more people to upgrade to Member Plus. If we get to 600, I get to do an IRL stream with you guys on a Saturday. You get an extra stream on an extra day. So thank you so much. And we are on pace to hit the goal for the week. I have to play A Quiet Place on Friday. Spooky game theme for the month. And if you hit the stretch goal, Madam has to play that night. So you can now get 2 segments on Friday and MASH with another 20 bomb. Unbelievable. He absolutely is the king of the gifteds around here. Nobody competes with my man MASH. I now owe you guys a 10 bomb. I now owe you a 10 bomb of members. Every 25 I gift back and say thank you. So thank you guys so much for being here. I'm curious what you guys think of the lead story today. Also, feel free to weigh in on what you think of my upload, because I'll go take a look at some of your comments on PlayStation sunsetting Bungie. I feel like that's their goal here, is to take over. They want to take over. They want the studio, but not really. They want the game and the IP, but I don't think they want Bungie. And then we've got an Xbox Insider listing an awful lot of games. An awful lot of games coming to coming to PlayStation. And this guy says, talent lost, no sir, woke is not talent, Bungie is history. Destiny was destroyed from within. Game lasted 10 years. Lots of the folks there made that happen. Like, come on, dude. Like, this idea that, like, what, 800 to 900 people are woke and destroyed the game. Woke. It's like, gee, many Christmas. Find a new word. Narwaffle says, I think Sony is right for wanting a Destiny 3. It is honestly insane to me that Bungie would think that they could walk away from such a huge moneymaker. Exactly, Narwaffle. It just seems crazy. And then Baba, what is that? Baba Chaka? Baba Bachaka? Now that's a fun name to say. Baba Bachaka does a Member Plus. Now, if that's an upgrade, it counts as 2. When it's a renewal, we give you credit for it. But I give you a double on your first upgrade, and you've been at a Member Plus for 0 days. So that is a brand new upgrade. So that counts as 2. All right, thank you. If 4 more people upgrade, I drop a 20 gifted member bomb on chat. So thank you, Baba Bachaka, for starting that today. Love that title, PlayStation Sunsetting Bungie. It's absolutely perfect. I don't know if I came up with it or Creature came up with it or did chat come up with it. It was a collaborative effort. We were all trying to come up with a clever title because my POV was they want the talent, they want the IP, they don't want Bungie. Like, they don't want them. They're like, no, you guys can leave. All these leaders can get the frick out. You know what I'm saying? Activision and Xbox made Sony pay them twice. COD advertising and buying Bungie. Well, Activision and Xbox made Sony pay them twice. So nobody paid Activision and Xbox for Bungie. I'm not sure if you're aware or not. Bungie was independent when they were acquired by PlayStation, so that's completely inaccurate. And I don't think they're having to pay Xbox to advertise Call of Duty. I believe they're allowed to market it because they have the marketing rights per the contract. So that, again, is not paying Xbox and Activision anything. Activision's not even an entity that would be paid by PlayStation at this point because Activision is now a subsidiary of Microsoft as a parent company. So what you're saying is nonsense. It doesn't even make any sense. The Unknown 9 game or whatever it's called is bombing hard. Yep. Another game that decided to make like a mystical, magical person with like a cuff, and I guess the story and the combat and everything was pretty bland. You know, Banishers didn't do that well either. Similar idea, similar kind of vibe. Very different game, you know, but similar vibes. So a 20 and a 10 bomb, let's go. Yeah, I'm going to do the 10 that I owe you guys right now. As you guys are weighing in on the various subjects. I mean, I don't really understand why people were having a go at MAG, at Middle-Aged Gamer Guy. I don't know why people were having a go at MAG. It's like, you guys got told this earlier this year. You seethed and you screamed and you yelled that it wasn't happening, and then it happened. And then I had a bunch of people come and yell at me because, you know, Phil Spencer's like, it's not Indiana Jones and it's not Starfield. And then at, what was that, Tokyo Game Show or Gamescom? Which one was it? I keep forgetting. It was Gamescom? Which event was it where it was Gamescom? Yeah, where they had Jeff Keighley announce that Indiana Jones was coming to PlayStation. It's like, I don't know why you guys are having a go at a guy who's just telling you what he heard. Like, he's just telling you what he heard. He's like, yeah, I heard all these games are in development for the Pro and the PS5. Like, you know what I mean? Why take it out on him? This seems to be happening at a faster rate than anybody expected. I mean, I thought they were going to take their time, to be fair. I thought they were going to take their time. I thought they would do these 4, and then it would, it would just take a while. You don't find Mag as a reliable insider at all, but it's the context of where he said it, Eugene. He was on MM2K's podcast. MM2K is a friend. We've DM'd, and he sent me really encouraging messages. But, MM2K is just like a friend of Mag's, just a mutual. He just had him on to have a conversation. It wasn't like Mag got invited to Joe Rogan because he's like, I've got inside information. Like, he didn't use this to get anything. He was just having a conversation with a friend and was like, yeah, I talked to somebody from inside Microsoft or Xbox Game Studios, and this is what they said. And the phrasing that he used, it was like, yeah, it sounds like you spoke to somebody that says, yeah, this is what's on the docket. Of course, that stuff, or at least some of it, is in development or planned to be. Right, but when he starts talking about this is in co-development for Xbox and PlayStation, that's entirely different than porting. He's not just coming to the table and saying very generically, whole slate. No, he's coming to the table and saying, oh no, this stuff is currently in co-development for PlayStation 5 and PlayStation 5 Pro. That's not a port. That's not a port. That means they've made direct changes to pipeline of the game development of all these projects, whether it's Fable or Avowed or Gears of War. These are games that we all assumed, yeah, they'll probably come to PlayStation. When he said Blade, it was like, oh, yeah, sure. I assumed Blade was the day they announced it and didn't even mention Xbox. I told people, I was like, that's a multi-plat. That you don't announce a game like that and don't mention your parent company. That's bizarre. That was a very bizarre announcement, and it was before, everything had kind of gotten announced. Clever title on today's video. Yeah, if you guys didn't see today's video, PlayStation sunsetting Bungie, be sure to check that out. This guy says most of the incompetent or poor management personnel need to go. The talent might not be leaving per se, but move people that aren't dedicated to Destiny or Marathon and spin off that last studio. Yeah, I still think that PlayStation wants Destiny 3. I do. I think PlayStation wants a Destiny 3. I might have said Destiny 2. But I think they want a Destiny 3. Brooklyn says, you can tell this is Xbox's plan. I think they are just trying to figure out how to make sure to land on their fan base. There'll be blowback. Yeah, who was it? Ecstasis? Ecstasis is a pretty reliable leaker, and I think even he said recently somewhere that they're trying to slow down because because of the response to Indiana Jones. I think that's what it was. Hang on. There was a guy on Twitter that tweeted, he didn't believe it. He kind of mocked the guy. Yeah. So Ecstasis said that Microsoft is still porting several Xbox games to PlayStation 5. However, they are pausing or slowing the development of some ports because the Indiana Jones announcement was not well received. Now, isn't Ecstasis... I feel like Ecstasis is pretty reliable. Now, according to Ecstasis, Halo and Gears are still red lines. But we've recently heard a ton of information about how Halo's being considered and Gears is coming. Detective Seed says, Mag has actually really good info. You have to remember, he's a C-suite executive for a large company that works with Microsoft, so he has contacts. He does the gaming stuff for fun, and he loves gaming. That Detective Seeds, that's how I listen to him, and he's always been nice to me. In light of all the hate that the green side throws at me, he's always been nice to me, and we've DM'd a couple of times. And I have no ill will for him. I actually don't even have any ill will for Colt Eastwood. Back when I blocked everybody, Colt got blocked not because he ever said or did anything to me. I just didn't want to see that side of the fence. It was just bothering me. Like, the ABK thing was just really not a fun time for me as a content creator, okay? I've been doing this for 10 years, and it just was reminiscent of some crap that I've been through, and it was just like, it was really unpleasant to be in the crosshairs once again from a community that was like, we don't like you. And I was like, great, I've been here before. And so I've never had any issues with some of these guys. And so I've always found Mag to be nice. And if you listen to the way he says it on the podcast, it's just so nonchalant. Like, he's not like, yo, I got some secret info here, bros. It's not, he's not trying to clout chase. He's not trying to get anything out of this. He didn't use this information to get on some big, huge podcast so he could, spread his name. He's just hanging out with some buddies, and he's like, yeah, this is what I heard from somebody inside Xbox Game Studios. And he just starts rattling off the titles. Like, the minute somebody uses information to get clout or get a following or whatever, I understand being skeptical, but I didn't hear that in how he spoke about this. Just very nonplussed, just very, very conversational in how he talked about it. I feel like I can read tone of voice. I can read a lot of intention when you hear somebody talk about something and how they sort of package it. And I just didn't get that impression at all from him that that's what this was about. So I find him to be trustworthy, and I also found the delivery of the information to be seemingly very non-embellished. It just felt very basic. So he told Colt the same info on their show too. Okay, so he did end up putting it on another show. Yeah, he said he wasn't even sure if he was going to. So thank you guys so much for being here this morning. Another strong turnout. Thank you for the support of my video, PlayStation Sunsetting Bungie. Be sure to check it out and leave a like. While you're here right now, hit like. If you hit subscribe, which is free, you can talk in my chat. We're off to a great start already today, getting near what we need for today. We need to end today at 400. Now, if you guys hit 500 today, if you hit that early, I will drop a 50 bomb, and you'll be well on your way to getting the stretch goal. So Madam has to play A Quiet Place on Friday night. We give you guys the opportunity now to get a doubleheader on Fridays. It's very telling that they do, says Brooklyn, which is why I said they're probably trying to figure out how to do this without upsetting the fan base. Yo, what's good, hardcore magnanimous gentlemen? How are you, my friend? I mean, Brooklyn, they're already upset. Right? They're already upset. Just go. Just do it. The Band-Aid's half off. You know what I mean? Have you ever been trying to take a Band-Aid off of a kid and they're like, and you're like, come on, and it's taking a while, and you get it half off. You get it half off, and they're just like, oh, that hurt, please don't. And you're like, listen, the best way to, and you just rip it off. You know? I did it. My daughter got really mad at me once when I did that. She did not like it. She did not like it. You know, because she feels like she can trust me, and she felt like just in the way that I did it, she felt like I tricked her, and she was upset for a little bit with me. But, you know, we got it over with. And she, you know, she was fine a few minutes later. But it's like, they're already upset. They're not going to get less upset. Right? Like, what, if you take a little bit longer? You know? If you take a little bit longer? If you only do one or two? Listen, I'll tell you this. They have a right to be upset, but they also don't have a right to be upset. At one level, they don't have a right to be upset because Phil Spencer has been playing sleight of hand with you guys since like last year when he was like, we have no intentions to put Game Pass on PlayStation and Nintendo. It's like, so you have a right to be upset, but you kind of don't have a right to be upset. And it's like, that's why they're upset. Some of these people are upset not because you're moving the games. I mean, that's upsetting. I think they're more upset because they're like, would you just shoot straight with us? Would you just tell us? Just tell us. Just say it. Just say, you know what? Yeah, I mean, basically everything's going. If we run the numbers and we can make money on it, we're sending it over. Yo, good morning, Javier Cotto. You see what I'm saying? It's like, I actually think there's a significant portion of the Xbox loyal that are not upset as much that it's happening. I think they intellectually understand it. Now, we're being generous here, right? Some of these people act like brutes on Twitter. But I think at an intellectual level, a lot of these guys get it. They're like, you spent all that money, you got to make the money back. And then they'll spin it into, oh yeah, making that money from PlayStation, right? They'll keep their fandom and their brand loyalty intact. I think they can get over that, because then they can just start focusing on, oh yeah, look at all the money we're making. Haha, PlayStation's paying Xbox's bills. Who cares about that? That's just copium. But at the very least, they could just sort of get into gear and just start doing that if you would just frickin' tell them what's going on. You want to play these games, and you want to be like, yeah, we have no plans to put Game Pass on Nintendo or PlayStation. And then 4 months later, you do a podcast, and you're like, just 4? It's not Indiana Jones or Starfield. And then a couple of months later, oh yeah, Starfield's going to PlayStation. It's like you just keep kicking the hand wave, sleight of hand can down the road. Just frickin' tell people. Sit down, do a podcast, do a State of the Union, sit at a desk, Phil, and be like, listen, we got to make that money, all right? This is what we're doing, right? We'll see you in the summer. Like, just that, you know what I'm saying? Like, just tell people what's going on, Phil. He said that in a roundabout way at Gamescom. Yeah, when he said we're a business, and I said we were going to learn, and he was basically saying, oh yeah, there's more coming. Like I said, they have a right to be angry, but they also kind of don't have a right to be angry. It's like they've been telling you for a while, you just weren't listening, or it was obvious they weren't giving you the full answer. I remember when Phil said what he said in November, I was like, it's always about what Phil doesn't say. And when they did the podcast, I said the same thing. I was mocked. I was jeered. I was absolutely ridiculed for that. And I was absolutely right. I was like, it's about what he doesn't say. The man's a wordsmith. He's in this business. He's in his position for a reason. He's very good at saying just the right thing. It's like, I've always made the analogy to the Wheel of Time. It's like the Aes Sedai. They literally bind themselves to not be able to lie. Like, there's magic that restricts them from being able to lie. So they have to use the truth in a deceptive way. They literally will say something that is true to give the person an impression that is false. And then they're still bound. They're like, I didn't lie. So that's what he is. Like, he's basically like an Aes Sedai. Like, he will say the truth, but he says it in a way to leave you with a false impression, and then he can shrug and be like, I didn't say that. I didn't say that Starfield and Indiana Jones would never go. I just said that these 4 games weren't Starfield and Indiana Jones. You see, it's like, at that point, you I think then have a right to say, Phil, you keep giving us impressions. Why don't you just shoot straight with us? So there's two sides to the coin. It's like, you have a right to be frustrated, but you kind of don't have a right to be frustrated because it was so easy to see what he was doing. Yeah, most executives at large corporations. Exactly, Mr. Grimm. Exactly. I think Hardcore Magnanimous, did you ask me a question? What'd you say? Oh, you said JK. I thought that you put a question. PS5 Pro has been delayed to December 20th. Oh, JK. I was like, huh? I saw you said something was delayed. I thought you were talking about a game. Let's see what's some more comments on the PlayStation sunsetting Bungie. There's a comment here. Sony is doing the right thing. Take over the talent. Get rid of the higher-ups. The hardworking and talented part of Bungie needs to be utilized. Agreed. Nightfire says, if Bungie and Sony want me to come back to Destiny, then the first thing they need to do is to get fresh, new creative talent with fresh eyes looking at Destiny. So smart thing is to move. I would love Destiny 3 to bring in consultation as well. I think I agree with that. I think it would be good to bring in some consultation. Did you read my question? I want your opinion. Give me 1 second here. What Royale is the next Xbox is already in development? Where's your question? I don't see a question. I mean, yeah, I don't see a question. I'm also noticing that you created your account 27 minutes ago. So, I mean, ban evasion is, I don't know. Like, it's adorable and pathetic at the same time. It's kind of a unique behavioral trait, you know, to keep coming back when you're not welcome. A $5 super chat tip from Hardcore Magnanimous Gentleman says, has anyone else noticed their PlayStation Stars is missing from the app? I'm looking at my phone, it's gone. Also, PS5 Resume Activity is gone. Well, Resume Activity is gone because it still does the same thing. If you put your PlayStation in rest mode and you come back the next day and turn it on and you just hit play game, it just takes you right back to where you were. Resume Activity, it still does it. It still does it. I'm not... Or explains everything. No. It still works. The resume activity button's gone, but if you have your PlayStation in rest mode, and then you turn the PlayStation back on, and you go to the game that you were just playing, and you hit play, it'll just take you right back to where you were. I think it's confusing people because they assume they can no longer resume the activity. My stars are... Hang on. I'm agreeing to the new PlayStation Stars terms of service. Yeah, my stars are there. I don't know what you mean. I have 25,000 points. I'm a level 4, and I can buy stuff. It's working for me. Maybe see if your app needs updated. Stars from the time I get them in a way about 24 months. From the time I get the stars. Oh, maybe you have to like reboot the app, close the app, or update the app so you can agree to the new terms of service. That might be what it is. If you can't accept the new terms of service, it's not going to let you see it. Because that's the first thing it did to me when I opened up stars on the app, is it made me agree to the new TOS. So, they were doing something with it recently, and it wasn't available for like, 7 to 14 days or something. Like, you just couldn't get in, and then all of a sudden it was working again. Oh, your points expire sooner? Oh, golly, I should use mine then. I don't ever use them. I have a stupid amount. I don't even know what you can get. Can I just get the I usually just use them for the stupid like the money. I'll do that later. Willie Kale left a comment on the PlayStation sunsetting Bungie video and says, the success and the failure of Marathon, I believe, really drives the future of Destiny. If Marathon takes off, Destiny will not get big content drops. If Marathon fails, Destiny gets full attention. Could also help fund future Destiny content if it does well. I don't think it's that dichotomous, Willie. You know, if Marathon does well, it could help fund future Destiny content. You know what I mean? Get the gift cards. Yeah. No more money? Are you not allowed to do the money anymore? I just claim wallet funds usually. That's what I typically do as well. I just hadn't been checking it. Now, Raphael says, to be honest, I thought this was the plan that they had all along, but I would agree that it's slow and different. At the same time, Bungie did this to themselves. Yeah, they sure did. I agree with that. Risick with a single gifted member takes us to 371. 4 away from the next time that I owe you guys 5 members. Keep it going, boys. Check and see if you have any renewals. And don't forget to upgrade. Upgrading counts as 2. And we are well on our way to the next milestone of Member Plus and above. Let those points expire, Loney. You can do money, but the $5 option is gone. Oh. I just used them for PlayStation Wallet money. It looks like they removed all but one money option. That's interesting. That'll be unfortunate if they take that away, because like all the little trinkets and trash that you can buy, it's like, I don't care about any of that. It doesn't do anything for me. Oh, that's right. There's a new speedrun level of Astrobot hitting today. They're doing 1 a week. And they'll be landing on Thursday. So last week's hit, and then today's is Let It Slide. I believe they're doing, what is it? Is it 4 or 5 levels? over the next couple of weeks. Like every Thursday they'll drop one. Yeah. They're fun. You get some new bots. You got a reason to boot up the game. I enjoyed it. This guy says, turns out one game flopping wasn't going to sink a multi-billion-dollar company, but I have to admit it was very entertaining watching the internet being so sure of themselves. This guy says, if Dungeons paywall isn't removed, I'm not coming back. Not supporting that level of greed. Over monetizing in Destiny is a problem. It is, because they were the ones, you know what's funny about the monetization? They were the ones always trying to push the over monetization. And like the funny thing about it was, as we've now looked at the history, Activision was the one pushing against a lot of the monetization in Destiny. Like Bungie was the one, they really wanted to push it. And all along, people thought that the devil in the room was Activision. No. Nope. You can buy the equivalent of in-game currency for $5. Oh, Destiny 2 currency is available? Yeah, I can't do anything with that. And a single gifted comes in from Joker Quinn. Thank you so much. We already had one person upgrade to Member Plus today, guys. Use that upgrade command. And if 4 more people do it, I have to gift 20 members to the channel. I don't use PlayStation Stars, says Amskin. I signed up for it, but I don't really use it. I'll be earning way less of them since I'm going back to physical-only games. With going back to physical-only games, like, what are you going to do when... I mean, I guess the question, I want to say it another way. Are there games that have come out without a physical release that are you going to abstain from those games? They really remove the gift cards? That's lame. Did they seriously remove all the gift cards? That was the only thing I used Stars for. How many members to get you to play Star Trucker? Well, at 600 member plus and above, I'm supposed to play the Date Everything simulators, you know. Bungie's been the devil in the room since they left Halo. What's the command? It is, I'll do it for you. It's !upgrade. If you're struggling to upgrade, you might have to go incognito on your phone browser and then request the desktop site. That'll basically let you go to that members page and change level or view perks. It's difficult to do through the apps. Wukong was not physical. They announced it yesterday. Yeah, like, what do you do when something's not physical? Are you going to basically, like, boycott it and not buy it like Alan Wake 2? Zach Johnson with 26 months and a Member Plus says, have you seen the latest D2 scandal in perks not being on a uniform distribution? As a math guy, it's one of the more entertaining one in a while. Let me add to the total. I've not seen that. What's the too long didn't read? Are they manipulating how perks drop? I mean... I know for a fact that they increase drop rate of certain items if you take a break from the game, because then when you come back, they want you to feel like you've been rewarded, right? This is true, but whole stock Concord was fire. But Bungie has a lot more talent than bad leadership. I think Bungie's talent outweighs their bad leadership, right? As long as Sony invests into Destiny, doesn't matter. It does if the leadership finally leaves. I think that's part of the problem. They got too much hubris, man. They're drunk on hubris. Like, even their ex-employees are some of the most arrogant, most deluded people I think I've ever seen. Like, I saw a tweet from somebody yesterday who used to be at the company. It's like, you still talk like some drunk on hubris Bungie employee. Jiminy Christmas. Like, just the self-righteous judgment of others. Like, imagine thinking that anybody answers to you. Like, that's always my favorite, is like the zero self-awareness, self-righteous person who thinks people on Twitter answer to them. Like, because they think something of them or they think something of their behavior. It's like, Jiminy Christmas. Eugene says all weapon perks have equal distribution. Oh, Bungie confirmed that was fake? So what was somebody trying to claim? That, like, perk distribution was being arbitrarily manipulated by Bungie? Amskin says, when digital's the only option, I'll buy digital fully, but until then I want physical games. Okay, so you're not, like, becoming strictly ideological about it. It's more of like a preference for you. There are people that are very, very, they can get almost ideological, you know. They get almost self-righteous about the digital versus physical thing. And it's like, gee, many Christmas. They take it some of them take it very, very serious. And so that's why I'm always curious, like, what are you going to do when you take it that serious? You know, what are you going to do if you ever get a PC and want a PC game? Because, I mean, that's pretty much, like with Steam, I mean, that's just a digital storefront at that point. I mean, you can get some PC games physical, but the lion's share of what you see trailers for at these events and all these indie titles, they don't do physical releases. And I'm always just curious what somebody's going to do in that situation. Speaking of bugs, I got Silent Hill 1 that came with the updates where the cube doesn't fall apart in the labyrinth. What are you supposed to do? Okay, so this guy says, this is the smoking gun for me. 100,000 rolls of the S24 Truth Teller on light.gg. Not a single good roll to go for, so the pattern shows really clearly. There's no reason that moving target plus threat detector should be 17 times more likely than MT plus repulsor brace. So you're saying that this guy's tweet here, or this research here, let me pull up Discord on this side. So this guy here, Mousy, what's he say, Mousy Max, you're saying this has been debunked? He tweeted this 24 hours ago. So in the last 24 hours, Eugene, you're telling me that this guy's claims have been falsified? Let me give you the full screen here. This gentleman here is showing, I mean, a clear trend here. Unless his data is incorrect, the data isn't good. Do we have somebody? But I can't scroll down on Twitter. We might start seeing bad stuff. All the bots that are out there. So you're saying someone from Bungie has officially stated that, or you're stating that? Your original statement was that Bungie claimed it wasn't true. Garo has more too. We've been here before, okay? People exposed them for doing stuff with the XP, and they said they weren't, and then they actually were. So I trust Bungie about as far as I can throw them, which you can't. So I don't trust them. DMG claimed it isn't true. He's a super honest person. It's only from people on light.gg. Oh, okay. So 100,000 rolls of the weapon on Light GG have created a trend. Why would that not be compelling? The above comment. Bungie said they don't weigh individual perks, but new data has come out that shows that there is a bug where perk combos are more likely than others. I crowdsourced over 452 drops of VS Chill Inhibitor, and the results were eye-opening. I was genuinely shocked the first time I saw this chart. Look at the gradient. The guy did a live feed with a small sample. The evidence is showing the other way. The hardcore guys are digging into it. This would not be the first time that Bungie comes out and says they're not doing something, and they are, or with the XP thing, they claimed it was a bug. This sounds like something that has been overlooked. There's some sort of propensity in the perk distribution to create certain combinations over others. That's not a good sample either. You're just going to continue to say it's not a good sample. Why? You can't just say it's not a good sample. Why? Oh, because it's just this group. But if you sample 400 people, 500 people, 100,000 rolls from the community, and you see a trend, where's the trend coming from? They all manipulated what they showed? Like they all knew? Did they all get together? 400 or 500 people knew and concocted a plan of like, well, we'll only show these rolls to create a data trend? Or the people on Light GG are somehow creating a data trend? How would they create the data trend? We glossed over this with crafting, or the rare combos would have been sharded anyhow. what you're saying is the pattern emerges because the outliers get deleted? Or not outliers, but the more random ones. Raphael gifts a member and takes us to 374. We are one away from me owing you guys 5 members. Thank you so much. Guys, take a quick second. There's a lot of you here, and I appreciate that very, very much. And you can help me out by hitting the like button. Take a quick second and hit thumbs up. Let's set our sights on 300 likes. It helps more people find the video. Keep getting a slug, shoot shotgun, same rolls, I believe it. And David N does it. He is the one who lands the plane at 375. This guy's been so generous. He still hasn't gotten out of his first month of membership, and he just keeps on keeping on. I owe you guys 5 members, and I'm going to do that right now. I'm also going to check something. I was watching the premiere this morning along with you guys on my phone. I could not switch off of Top Chat on mobile. So I'm going to update the app. Maybe my app needs updated. And then I'm going to pull up this stream and see if I can switch off of Top Chat, because that's annoying. And then Alfonso is the agent of chaos. He renews his membership and pushes us past, setting us up for the next milestone of 400. Well, I will gift another 5 members. There we go. And every time you guys go 100 above pace, I owe you a 50 bomb of memberships. This guy says, we'll wait for the full Nuo data set, but extrapolating from this messy data using Vendetta's proximity theory and a 6x6 weapon, you have a 1 in 24 chance of a specific combo at distance or 0 or 1. 1 in 49 chance of a combo at distance 2. And a 1 in 454 chance at distance 3. And I said the wrong one. And Cat! I'm so used to saying MASH. And Cat with the 20 bomb. She says, we're going to hit that goal and then some. And takes us to 396. Appreciate you so much, Cat. Thank you for the hearts. Love you and your support of the channel. Just so generous over the years. You were one of, I think you might have been the only person that sent us a housewarming gift 4 years ago when we bought the house. You sent us something. I think you sent something off the wish list and then like added something in. Appreciate you, Kat, very, very much. We still have that. It was, I believe it was a 4-leaf clover, like this metal 4-leaf clover. Sounds like Steiner math. Alone just rattle off. Yeah, I don't know. I don't understand any of those terms, but they're all finding trends. So I'm here to tell you. There is probably something to this. Did Cat change into MASH? Yeah. And a 5-bomb from Super Gaming. And a 5-bomb from David N. Man, oh man, you guys do not quit. You have now surpassed 400. I owe you 5 more. And you're now on the runway of getting ahead of the curve. And I'll owe you 50 members. Eugene says, the Light GG data shows only for people that have signed up and only the guns they've kept. That doesn't account for roles that were deleted. It's not good data. Okay, that's fair. Now I understand why you're saying it's bad data. Like, it just being a select group of people is not compelling, but it being a select group of guns because others have been deleted, that's compelling. But doesn't that make it sound like, though, Eugene, there is a propensity? There still is a propensity for these combos. There's way more of this combo than this combo. Yo, Catwalk with the VIP bumps the line by 1. Thank you so much. Add this one, too. That's 20 months. Appreciate you very much. You guys can make me gift even more. If 4 more of you upgrade, I have to do a 20 members. So keep upgrading. And another gifted member. Here, let me do the 5 that I owe you. I can't see chat to shout out who gifted it. Give me 1 second. And the one new gifted member comes from Mikey Mike. That's somebody with the white badge gifting. I absolutely love to see that, man. Getting involved, doing what we do, being generous to others. Thank you very much, Mikey. We're suggesting people dismantle all the good roles, right? Eugene, do you hear what we're saying? Like, where are the good roles then? The combos that people want are non-existent on the chart, meaning that people aren't getting them, and the combos that people consider like so-so or okay or whatever are in greater amount. That's a trend, homie. That's a trend. Like, I'm not a mathematician, and I'm not the smartest guy in the room when it comes to this kind of stuff. My expertise is in other fields, but I'm here to tell you that if all that Light GG is telling you is what people currently have, there is still a trend of there's a ton of this combination of perks, and there's very small representation of this combo of perks. Why would that be happening? That would then betray something in the data, whether it's intentional or a ghost in the machine. Can you no longer upgrade to VIP? No, you can upgrade to VIP. Whether you upgrade to Plus or VIP, I count that as an upgrade. Yeah. Yeah. Why are you trying to, Hunter, and it won't let you? Satya making a grand entrance now that the Xbox topic is over. No, you guys can bring that topic back up. Let me know what you think. Let me know what you think. I can balance multiple topics at once. If you want to talk about, you know, when these games come and the recent information from Mag, middle-aged gamer guy saying that, like, hey, all these titles are coming. See, to me, the interesting information that came from Mag was not that they're coming. It was that they're in co-development. When he's talking about, like, Gears of War and some of these other titles are in co-development, I was like, wait a minute, that's not Xbox porting these titles over. That's different. I think a lot of us thought, and a lot of people thought, that they were going to be porting the games over later. And this is like, no, this is co-development, which means day and date is probably very close at hand. The Destiny 2 team replied and said, we had a conversation with our sandbox folks this morning about this. There's no perk weighing active for any legendary weapon perks in Destiny 2. We've added perk attunement for exotic class items in recent update. Yeah, again, it's never about what they say. It's about what they don't say, Eugene. I don't care if there's perk weighting. That's not what's the question. That's not what is in question. That is not what is in doubt right now. There appears to be a propensity for certain perk combinations to show up more than others. That's the issue. That wouldn't necessarily come from perk weighting. That could come from a ghost in the machine. There could be something in there in the code of the game that's causing that to happen. Dati says, I'm a busy guy. The frosted glass isn't going to install itself. Who are you, by the way? What was your original username? Satya Whole Slate Nadella. I love it. That was the initial claim of perks being weighted. This is a new theory, and Bungie has not yet spoke to it. Yeah, to me, I think, okay, sure, they come back and say, we don't do perk weighting. Okay, this doesn't look like perk weighting to me. It looks like a bug. It looks like a bug. I'm not accusing them of malfeasance. I think it's an accident. For whatever reason, there's way more of this perk combo than this perk combo. Why? That would mean there's a percentage chance of something happening more than another for some reason. You would need data of all the rolls dropping, not just the ones that are kept. Yeah. So you're... But Eugene, why are the good rolls in less of a number? Why would people be deleting good rolls? The coveted roll, people are deleting? Like, your theory, that's what your theory would have to be, is that the reason the good rolls are in such a small percentage is because people are deleting them. Like, huh? That doesn't make any sense at all. I'm happy to hear. I was planning on buying Avowed on my Series S, but I'm trading it in for the Pro, so I wouldn't get it. But since it's a rumor to come to PlayStation, I don't have to worry much. What do you guys think's going on with Avowed? What do you think's going on with Avowed? Avowed gameplay is capped at 30 FPS. So what on earth are they doing with that game if it's coming to PlayStation? This guy says, I didn't watch the entire video, 3 seconds in and paused it. One of the employees that was moved said they were still working with Bungie. They're just working on extra stuff, and this isn't taking away from Destiny. Some workers from PlayStation will help with Destiny 2. I did not see the details and maybe missing info. That's all. I'm out. So you spread false info and do no research. Got it. Check their LinkedIn profiles. They now work for SIE and not Bungie. They will simply support Destiny going forward. People like that amaze me. You admit in your comment that you do no research and you're just out here spreading bad info. They don't still work at Bungie, and they're not going to continue to work on Destiny. They're quite literally now, they work for SIE now. They work for SIE. They don't work for Bungie anymore. They said that they're still committed, and then they said they'll still support Destiny, but they're not working on Destiny anymore, homie. 155 of these people were going to be laid off. They're being absorbed by SIE. If you think they're just going to sit over there at SIE and keep tacking away working on Destiny, you're nuts. This is a reassignment. You don't change somebody's title and who they work for just for the fun of it. Well, you work for us now. Your title has changed. But, yep, just keep doing what you're doing. Do some research. Go to their LinkedIns. They don't work for Bungie anymore. There's no reason to do this if they're not changing what they're doing. You would just keep them where they are. Any word on the Monster Hunter Wilds FPS on the Pro? No, but there's a beta. There's like a way you can play coming up, so we'll know real soon. We'll know real soon. I don't think it's going to run all that well on the PlayStation 5. Now, on the Pro, again, you'll have to wait for Capcom to say something. I think the concern would be that Capcom just doesn't seem to prioritize optimization in their last couple outings. I mean, Dragon's Dogma 2 got updates later that help, so maybe Monster Hunter Wilds will get the same treatment. I don't think the engine works for what they're doing. I think the RE engine has its limits, and we're learning that those limits are don't do open world games with the RE engine. It's not built for it. Now, maybe they're finding their way, and it eventually will be a good engine for open world, but you know, it can take time. You know, Anthem faced a lot of challenges for that. They were using an engine that just wasn't conducive to the game that they were trying to build. They had to build entire systems just for flight in Anthem. So a developer can waste an awful lot of time on certain systems because the engine's not built for it. Hope it runs well. Game struggling mid-gen is not a good look. You mean Capcom game struggling mid-gen is not a good look. We don't have evidence of this in other games. The only other game I can think of that launched that had significant performance problems was a game that literally reworked its entire performance mode and ended up running fine after the fact, which was Jedi Survivor, and that was clearly a game that just came to market too early. I'm not seeing performance issues in these other games. I'm not. And how many games have now lined up to do PS5 Pro enhancements? Like 75-something games? I think performance issues keep coming back to the developers. I don't think it's the generation. I don't think it's the consoles. It's the developers. You know, there was doom and gloom when Gotham Knights was 30 FPS. Yeah, these consoles just aren't strong enough. And then Redwall, and then Starfield, and then Plague Tale Requiem, and all of those games except for Gotham got patched to 60. So, again, I think it's a prioritization of the developer. If the developer isn't going to prioritize it, it's not going to come out optimized. And that's on them. I don't think it's a sign of a problem in the gen. There are far too many games coming out that are running just fine. You know, like what happened with Black Myth Wukong. That's not an indictment of the generation. Look at what they did. Listen to the breakdown from Digital Foundry. You know, it's not the... Did I say Redwall? Oh my gosh. I'm losing it, chat. I say Dragon Age Inquisition. I say Redwall instead of Redfall. Yeah, because I've been reading the books to the kids again. We're trying to finish them so we can get to Harry Potter. Oh, man. I'm going to run out of time, and my kids aren't going to want me to read to them anymore, so I got to hurry. So, performance issues are mainly on the dev. It's not the console's fault. I tend to agree. Guys, we need 15 more likes for 300 likes. Thanks so much for a great turnout today. Welcome on in. We're talking about everything that you could think of to talk about. There are more games coming to a PlayStation. There are apparently a bunch of games in co-development for PlayStation as well as the PlayStation 5 Pro. So first-party Xbox studios have their hands on the PS5 Pro dev kit. We've talked about that. We've been talking about Bungie. They're getting sunset by PlayStation. As far as I can tell, PlayStation wants the talent and they want the IP. And Hunter upgraded to VIP. That counts as 2. I count any and all upgrades as 2, and that takes us to 410. I see that on the back end, Hunter. 2 people upgraded today. If 3 more upgrade, I owe you 20 members. So get those upgrades going, boys, and I'll drop a 20 bomb on chat. I think your take has a lot of merit. I do think Sony wants a Destiny 3. Bungie as a developer and Destiny as a franchise are very well established. They're recognized by even casual gamers out there in the gaming elite. I just don't know how this all plays out. Would Sony just fully absorb them? I think they want to absorb them and take away the independence. I think they want to take away the independence. I think they want Bungie to function more as a traditional first-party PlayStation studio, and that's them absorbing them. That's them sunsetting Bungie. Like, it'll be Bungie in name only. The leadership will be gone. Evidence with 22 months. Great show, Lono. I love the way this channel has evolved. Thank you so much. And a 5-bomb from Hunter says, I'm not just going to upgrade. I'm going to give some members as well. We're now a 10-bomb away from 425. I'll owe you 5 more members. When you guys get 100 ahead on pace, I also do a 50 gifted bomb. So keep it going. You guys are crushing it. Since State of Decay 2 got its last content update this week, do you think that could mean State of Decay 3 releases next year? Didn't they say that in the last trailer? Or did they not? I thought the most recent trailer said 2025, or am I misremembering? I can't remember. I think maybe State of Decay 3 trailer. I did not like this trailer, by the way. No, there's no date at the end. Ignore me. Yeah, that trailer irritated me. There's no raw gameplay. It's just more trickery. All these guys out here being like, that's gameplay, that's gameplay. No, it is not. It is simulated, fully rendered, non-raw gameplay. Quit falling for this crap. We've fallen for this crap for enough years now to know that, you know, in-game footage and cinematics. Yeah, sure, Jan. Sure, Jan. I can tell when I'm looking at raw gameplay. South of Midnight was raw gameplay. State of Decay 3 was not. It was not. They do the same thing with Fable. The idea that people go out here and defend it is embarrassing. It's like, we've been doing this for a really, really long time. I've been covering trailer reveals I've been covering them for almost a decade now. If you can't tell the difference between raw gameplay and this simulated crap, I don't know what to tell you, man. But I think it's so easy to spot. And that State of Decay 3 trailer was not raw gameplay. It wasn't. If you have raw gameplay, you just show it. You don't have to play all these tricks. You're just like, here they are. They're walking. They're going to a new area. There's a heads-up display. Here's them fighting. Here's the fight coming to an end. Here's them climbing a wall. Like, they just let you see it. They don't do all these quick cuts and all this weird, like, it's kind of over the shoulder. It's kind of like gameplay. Like, this is kind of what gameplay will look like. I mean, get out of here with all of that. Yeah, in-game or in-game engine is not gameplay. I know. It's like, they'll be like, this is raw gameplay. They'll let you know. They'll be like, this is a gameplay reveal. Like, it's all in the naming of the trailers, bros. It's in the name of the trailers. Official trailer. Official trailer. Trailer. If it's a gameplay trailer, they say it. Like, they literally tell you, this is a gameplay trailer. It's not even in the description. A single gifted from DK Bager. Bumps the line. 416. My man, DK. Like, these game companies never shy away from telling you when you're looking at gameplay. They'll tell you. They don't do this little blurb at the bottom like, in-engine, captured in-engine, in-game footage. No, when it's gameplay, they don't do all of that. They just show it to you. And like, yeah, here's your gameplay trailer. It drives me nuts. It's like a game comes out 4 or 5 years ago with a trailer, you're like, sweet, and it finally comes back, and it's just more non-gameplay. It's like, thanks? You know what I mean? Like when Beyond Good and Evil 2 finally, you know, comes back to the market to talk to us, like, show us gameplay, bro. That seems like a reasonable request. Why would a dev lie about a highly requested feature? What are you guys discussing back here? They should have showed it in action. If they don't, I can't take their word for it. I don't remember any. What are you guys talking about? State of Decay 3, or are you guys talking about a different game? The reason I think that is because there was zero mention of third-person gameplay in their debut trailer. Then the criticisms came, they decided to have third-person mode. Oh, are you guys talking about Avowed having third person? About Avowed having third person? That situation's interesting because, yeah, they've not drawn a ton of attention to the fact that you can do it. They have confirmed that you can, but they also haven't shown a whole lot of third person gameplay for Avowed. So, yeah. I would prefer to play Avowed in third person. I'm not going to play it because it's 30 FPS. Like I've said before, I don't play third person. I'm sorry, I don't play 30 FPS games. You can keep your slop. I mean that. That's heartfelt. You come to the market in 2024 with a 30 FPS game, you can keep your slop, bro. I don't play those games anymore. I don't care if it's GTA 6. I'm not interested. I have a backlog a mile long. Why am I going to waste my time on your game? Like, I didn't play Dragon's Dogma 2. I stopped playing Final Fantasy 16. It's like, because the combat was 60, but then it was terrible outside of combat. So it's like, no, Avowed's not 30 FPS on PC, but it doesn't even look like that good of a game to begin with. I'm not going to play it on PC so I can get 60. I played Hellblade 2 on PC. I made an exception because I absolutely loved the first game and I had to play the sequel. Starfield was too big of a game to ignore. It's like, I've got to try out Starfield to see if it's any good. I've got how many, like 100-something hours in Fallout 4. I was like, I got to try out Starfield on PC. After Hellblade, I was like, no, I'm not doing this again. I'm not going to buy a game on PC. I'm not retreating to PC because Xbox can't make good on its promises. No, I just won't buy your stupid game. Like, if it comes to PlayStation and it's 60, I'll try it there. I still don't think the game looks all that fun. I think it looks fun for people that are going to really get into the RPG and the dialogue, but like, you have no evidence it wasn't already in the game? I tend to agree, though, that I think the third-person thing was an afterthought, Lone Wolf, because why would they wait so long to confirm it and talk about it? And they still haven't, they've shown almost no third-person gameplay. What? I think it's very reasonable for somebody to think that they basically added it late. They never talked about it, they never showed it, and then they finally confirm it very late, and they won't show us any third-person gameplay. They did a huge thing. Where was that? It was Gamescom, I think. They did a super long presentation. Not a single second of it were they like, and here's what third-person gameplay looks like. There was like 1 second where the guy's like walking up to a door. He like walks up to a door or something. There's no demo, there's no debut, there's no trailer, there's no breakdown, there's nothing of third-person gameplay anywhere. If I'm incorrect, correct me, show it to me. I've been looking for it. I kept saying, I was like, this seems like a game that I would play in third person. It doesn't seem like a game that I would play in first person. I've never liked, I did the same thing in Skyrim. I rather would play it in third. I want to see my character. It makes it feel more like an action game than like the first person and like you're holding your sword and your shield or whatever up like this. No thanks. You think you're addicted to Destiny 2? Doesn't mean it wasn't a thing from the start. I mean, we're at a standstill. It doesn't really matter if it was there to begin with, Lone Wolf, does it? They didn't draw attention to it. They didn't talk about it. They finally said you could do it. It was like in an offhanded way. And they've barely shown third-person gameplay. Those are all facts. Whether or not you think it was in there day one or added late is kind of superfluous. They're not showing it to us. You can play in third person in Skyrim? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I prefer it. I did that in Skyrim. I always played in third person. That was my point. When I first started seeing Avowed, that's what I said. I was like, I would rather play this in third person. I don't want to play it in first person. Elder Scrolls Combat in third is awkward. Oh, I always preferred it. I mean, I didn't do any mage or range. I was always like sword and board, and I thought sword and board felt fine in third person in Skyrim. It doesn't make sense to spend hours in character creation and then play first person looking at you, Cyberpunk. Yeah, well, but you see yourself in the scenes and stuff, don't you? No, I guess you don't. If there's mirrors and... Yeah, that is an interesting thing that they never let you... use your third person on the bike. Cyberpunk would have been weird in third person, though. I get what you're saying. You do spend quite a bit of time on your character in Cyberpunk, but I think Cyberpunk made more sense as a first person because it's a shooter. Love your content. Thank you. I appreciate that. Fable on PS5 Pro. Can't wait. Did you ever do Fallout in third person? No. Fallout, once again, it just made more sense to me as a shooter, you know. Guys, take a quick second and smash the like button. We got a little over 300 likes. Well, we're about to hit 300 likes. And double check. Hit the $ at the bottom of the chat. If you've already paid for your membership and you have a renewal celebration, you can help us with the goal as long as you're at Member Plus or VIP. So double check to see if you've got one to celebrate. How would you rate this gen so far? On a scale of 1 to 10, I would give PlayStation an 8, and I would give Xbox a 5. I would give PlayStation an 8 because the first-party cadence hasn't been as strong as I wanted it. It slowed down last year and this year, and I like a lot of their studios. So I'm like, I'm only giving my score based on my disappointment. I'm not saying they're doing like a bad job. I'm just like, yeah, I'll give you an 8. I would have given them a 9 if there had been better first-party cadence last year and this year. They slowed down. I know why they slowed down. It doesn't mean that I enjoyed it. It's like, come on, man, where are the games? Like, I know what they're doing. They're sandbagging second half, and they're sandbagging for PS5 Pro, but I still find it to be disappointing. And then with Xbox, I've been incredibly disappointed. It's like a 5. It's like, yeah, you know, you're here. You're not dead. You know, my most anticipated game this generation was one of the most disappointing games I played with Hellblade 2. So it's extremely hard for me to give them really any favorable score about anything. Redfall was a disaster. Starfield was a massive disappointment. And their cadence of first party has been abysmal. So, yeah. Once the PS5 Pro is released, Sony will ramp up their first party games. I mean, we know that they delayed a bunch of stuff. You guys remember the showcase in 2023? There were a bunch of insiders that were like, I don't know what that was, but there was stuff ready to go that wasn't in the show. They pulled a bunch of stuff. They did. They pulled a bunch of stuff. And then there was the internal revenue report, or like the earnings report, where they internally delayed a handful of games. I think those games were basically told, hold on, Spider-Man will carry the year. You get yourself ready for the PS5 Pro. That's what I think happened. And then I think this year, they had so many second and third party exclusives, they were like, no, we need to leave room for these. You've got to have a good relationship with your second and third party devs. You can't stomp all over them. Like, you can't have like Rise of the Ronin come out and then like a week later drop your Ghost of Yote trailer, or like have Rise of the Ronin come out and be like, yep, Ghost of Yote is coming in a month. Like, they have to have good relationships with their third and second party partners. They can't stomp all over them. So this year, this is what I think was supposed to happen. I think last year was supposed to be better with first party. I think it was. And I think they decided to kick a bunch of things down the road. They were like, we don't need it. We're going to post revenue gains. Spider-Man's going to carry the year because it's Spider-Man. And the rest of these things can wait. Well, the rest of these things couldn't suddenly be a deluge of first party in 2024 because we had 6 or 7 exclusives from second and third party studios. And they didn't want to stomp all over those relationships. That's why it happened. That's not copium. That's just what PlayStation did. I was disappointed. I was like, yo, where's the first party? I was critical of their showcase last year. I was like, You skipped a whole year and this is what we get? Like, I was disappointed. Mr. Grimm with a $10 super chat says, correct me if I'm wrong, but the debut trailer for Avowed made zero mentions of a third-person mode. It wasn't until after the criticism of the debut trailer that they said there would be a third-person mode. Thank you for the $10 super chat tip. And Grimm, I agree with that take. Lone Wolf has a different take. I think that's fine. I don't think it matters. Right? Your theory, they added it later. His theory, it's been in there since the beginning. Let's just talk about facts instead. The facts are, wasn't mentioned, was finally mentioned, has not been shown almost at all. And then when they did a lengthy walkthrough, hands-on gameplay debut, they didn't say anything about it or show it off in the least bit. Those are facts. I think those facts speak for themselves. I don't think third person was the focus. I don't think third person's probably going to be all that great. I don't think the game's going to be all that great, if you want my honest opinion. I really don't. I know. Afraid for Wolverine? Why would you be afraid for Wolverine? Especially not showing nothing on Wolverine. I need more info on it. Here's the thing. I would much rather them announce Wolverine the way that they did and then don't say anything. I don't want to know anything about Wolverine until you can show me gameplay and a release date. That's what they did with Spider-Man 2. Spider-Man 2 comes out with that trailer, and then they go dark. They say nothing. And then when it finally comes back out, we got a 20-minute gameplay trailer and then a release date like a week later. Like State of Decay 3 and Hellblade, they did their trailers and then they kept and then State of Decay 3 comes back this year at a showcase with nothing. With nothing. It's just another trailer. It's just another cinematic trailer and no release date. Dude, just go away. You don't need to do that. I don't care. I don't need to see that. I would much rather a game do what State of Decay 3 did with their very first trailer and then go dead quiet, and then when you finally show back up, I want to see gameplay and I want a release date. There's no reason to do anything else. You told me you're making the game. Great. I don't need another cinematic trailer after that. It doesn't serve a purpose. It doesn't serve a purpose. It's like you're not communicating anything to me. Hey, we're still making the game and we're still good at making cinematics. Cool. Any developer worth their weight can do good cinematics. Who cares? There are dudes that make incredible cinematics in their basement in Unreal just for the fun of it. Like, so when people are like, where's Wolverine? Where's Wolverine? No. Like, look at what we got from Ghost of Yotei. Look what we got. They hadn't said a word about it. They announced it. They show a little bit of gameplay. They show a little bit of gameplay. And then they give us a release window. So the next time Ghost of Yotei shows up, what am I going to want? I'm going to want raw, uncut gameplay and a release date. You don't need to do anything else in between now and then. You don't. You've announced the game. When a game is announced, I'm way more forgiving on what you show. When you announce your game, you can do a cinematic, you can do a release window. That's totally fine. You don't even need to do a release window. You can just announce the game. You can just say, hey, we're making Wolverine. Hey, we're making whatever the game is. Doesn't matter to me. Your announcement trailer, your announcement, totally fine if you just want to do a cinematic. I prefer it to be gameplay, but whatever. I don't care that much. But the next time you show up, now it's time to come correct. Bring the gameplay, bring the release date. Doing a cinematic, waiting 3 or 4 years and doing another cinematic, dude, just shut up and go away. What are you doing? I don't care about that. I think it's been done, but the S has had issues and probably a PlayStation port. Yeah, according to Middle Aged Gamer Guy, Avowed is coming to PlayStation 5 and Pro. Yeah. Yeah, Tom Holland confirmed Spider-Man 4. That is correct. And thank you guys for 300 likes. Thanks for all the members. You guys are well on place. I can't talk. You're well on pace. Well on pace to hit 500. If you hit it today, you get a 50 bomb from me. And then you secure me playing. Tomorrow afternoon is the segment. It'll be A Quiet Place. In the theme of October, we're playing spooky games. I'm ready to see something on Wolverine. I am as well. But here's the thing. I want gameplay and I want a release date. I don't need anything else at this point. I know you're making it. That's all I need to know. The next time you show up, I don't need more confirmation that you're still making it. You know, hey guys, we're still making it. Now, a cinematic that finally shows his face would obviously be pretty exciting. But again, it's like, who cares? I know you're making it. You don't need to do that right now. By the way, guys, you can submit questions right now as a member. If you're a member, you can start adding questions to the question queue and they show up on the screen. We appreciate you so much when you do that. And that is something you can afford to others when you gift. I'm going to upgrade to Deluxe. No Alan Wake 2, so I can play Lake House DLC on Halloween. You're going to upgrade to you're going to upgrade to Deluxe on Alan Wake 2 so you can play Lake House DLC on Halloween. Nice. Corey says, I think Spider-Man 2 is significantly better than the first game. I think too much platform warring and pandering to miserable people online makes it seem like people were not happy. Yeah, Spider-Man 2 did fine. That whole rewriting of history, it's the weirdest thing, right? It's the weirdest thing. With enough time, everybody talks about, like an Xbox title like, this got unnecessary hate, it was really good, like Redfall. Like, the revisionist history of like, well now, yeah, Redfall has always been a great game and it got unnecessary hate. Oh, shut the frick up. It's garbage. It always has been. They didn't even want to make it. And now we're doing the same thing with Spider-Man. Everybody's trying to do this revisionist history like, Spider-Man's just not very good. Really? 153,000 user ratings. It's got a 4.82. What are we even talking about? I don't get the revisionist history. It's stupid and uneducated. It deserves no respect. These people are just liars. They just create fabrications and fan fiction. Like, it's a 4.8. Do you know how hard it is to maintain that kind of a score with 153,000 ratings? Let's check it out. Whenever it lands on Steam, we'll do the same thing. We'll check it out there. We'll do the same thing. We'll be like, all right, let's see what they think about it. Now, hopefully, well, that's not going to be a great one because they're probably going to require the PSN. And that'll make everybody review bomb it. It's got a 90 on Metacritic. It's got an 8.8. It's got an 8.8 out of 8,500 user ratings. Now, you can review bomb on Metacritic. Nobody review bombed Spider-Man 2 on Metacritic. They didn't. It's got a great score. It's got an 8.8. User scores on Metacritic aren't that reliable because people can review bomb, but Jiminy Christmas. If people actually hated that game or it was bad, don't you think they would have gone and done that? It's so weird. The Spider-Man 2 thing, it blows my mind. The whole thing blows my mind. It's like award-nominated game, highly praised, highly reviewed everywhere. And then this is what people do. It's like you get enough distance from the game coming out and you can just make up something and people will be like, yep, it was a crap game. It was a trash game. They made Mary Jane ugly. Like, it's just weird to me. It's weird to me how people tend to really praise and enjoy a game years after it came out. It's like when it came out, you weren't doing this. You were probably agreeing with everybody else. And then we're also going to like years later act like a game's not good. It's like, I don't understand. They saw the woke MJ headline and they went with it. I literally saw a picture where they're trying to claim that Black Cat isn't as attractive in the second game. And it's like, we actually did side-by-sides. They actually made her more... They made her outfit more, like, form-fitting in the second game. And the improved lighting makes it really more apparent. Like, My first question coming in here from Brooklyn Breed. When you guys submit a question with the question command, it'll pop up on screen like this. And he says, did you hear that Helldivers 2 is getting Pro enhanced? They indicated that there will be differences between the PS5 and the PS5 Pro. They have not indicated what those differences will be just yet. Yeah, they have not indicated, so we'll have to wait and see. So, I'm assuming they'll use PSSR to smooth over frame rates. So what they'll do is they'll lower internal and raise it with PSSR, because some of the frame rate dips happen, and I think they're going to probably try to utilize that. I don't know. Is there ray tracing in Helldivers 2? I thought they used some kind of different lighting in Helldivers 2, so maybe they'll decide to add ray tracing. It might help with some of the bombast and some of the explosions, you know. I'm not actually sure what the lighting methods they use in Helldivers 2. It's very cinematic and very pretty, but I thought it was older lighting tech. I didn't think it was ray tracing. I could be wrong. Brutal Gear says, you think it's maybe because a game is measured across all games of all time the longer it's out, which will tend for a game to be more average over time? Well, let's take your theory, Brutal Gear, and what would the games be that came out this year that made Spider-Man 2 look bad? Like a lot of the Xbox guys are doing it. They're the ones claiming it. What did they play this year on Xbox that made Spider-Man 2 look bad? Well, let's say it's the PlayStation guys. What games did you play on PlayStation this year that made Spider-Man 2 look bad? Like, I can understand in 10 years being like, oh, wow, that game feels kind of dated now. It's been 1 year? It's been a single year. Like, I don't think your theory's necessarily wrong. I think people do that, but it hasn't been long enough. And there's not been really any games that have come out that have been like, well, this game just made Spider-Man 2 look dumb. It's like, no. Like, the games that have come out have been great. Like, I enjoyed Stellar Blade, but I wasn't thinking, you know, she's got a really nice dumpy, and that makes Spider-Man 2 kind of bad. You know, MJ looks kind of plain. And now I'm going to retroactively say that Spider-Man 2 was bad because, you know, Eve's thangs are thangin', and MJ looks like a librarian. Like, I don't think I played anything this year that adds credence to the theory that you're positing. I don't think it's a bad theory. I think people probably do that. I just think it usually takes more time. You know? I feel like it usually takes more time, and it's not like this quick. Let's be careful saying bad things about Spider-Man's dumpy. Looking at things in retrospect can lead to healthy debate. Sometimes the high wears off. I mean, that's not bad, Commando G-Man. If that's the case, do you think... What would you say are some of the legitimate things? I don't know if you're in agreement or not. If there's anybody in chat that agrees with the sentiment, what are some of the legitimate criticisms of Spider-Man 2 then? Why is it not as great as people thought? What is it? Now, he's a friend of the show. We've had good interactions, and I consider him a friend. Wooly on Twitter has regularly said he thought that the Spider-Man 2 story was not as good as the first game, and he was critical of some of their decisions. I don't agree with him. But there are people that thought that. Okay, granted, but that's not the whole game. Entirely new combat systems, 2 playable characters, the graphics, the new traversal, the length of the game, the open world activities, the side activities. So, okay, you didn't like the story as much. Okay, that's fine. I thought the Spider-Man 2 story was amazing. I thought it was excellent. I thought the voice acting was phenomenal. Yuri Lowenthal having to tread the line between, like, your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man and getting really aggressive with Venom. I loved that. And then the voice acting of Venom. Are you kidding me? Hang on, I'm going to get these questions up in just a second. the idea that you can grab such amazing sequences with the entire cast as well. Like, I think there were just really great sequences, really great scenes. I don't know. Yeah, 3 playable characters. You don't play as Venom for very... Oh, no, yeah, you play as Mary Jane Wick. Yeah. Oh, no, I'll agree with people that I thought the Mary Jane sequences were once again incredibly stupid. Right? I thought that they were stupid. It's dumb. It's dumb. Like, Spider-Man is incredibly strong, and so is Miles, and they're, like, struggling against these guys. And she's like, I added an adapter to my taser gun. Like, what the frick are we doing here? I know they didn't want to return to be like, oh, she has to sneak and take pictures. Do you know what the answer to that was? Yeah, don't do it again. No, I'm not buying a Spider-Man game to crawl around as MJ. I'm not. No, I'm not. I'm sorry. You know? It's like, hey, we made an amazing Batman game. So when do I get to play as Alfred? Like, nobody, what are we doing? Like, what are we doing here, boys? You know? Now, some of you may have played as Catwoman a little too long. But, you know what I mean? Like, it's too... I always thought she was too much of a juxtaposition. It was like, this isn't good gameplay. It's not. It's contrived and silly. It's just contrived and silly. When she was sneaking around and taking pictures, at least it was like, okay, the problem here is that this is a little boring. But it wasn't like... It wasn't stupid. It was just sort of like, yeah, I don't really want to do this. And then in Spider-Man 2, it was like... This is just silly. What are we doing? Mary Jane Wick? You know? Come on. I'm looking forward to the Mary Jane mod on PC. Play the whole game as her. That Catwoman was dope in Arkham City. You will get no hate from me if you enjoyed playing as Catwoman in Arkham City or Arkham Knight. I mean, she's fine. But I'm just giving you grief. I don't really care. I'm just saying. You weren't like, yeah, when do I get to walk around as Alfred? And what's Alfred going to do? Like throw teacup saucers at people and knock them out, you know? I'm Alfred Pennyworth. Like, someone's throwing plates. You know? It would be like, what the frick is this? Or he like pulls out an umbrella cane or something. He starts whacking people in the head, sword fighting. It'd be like, come on. Your disrespect of Alfred is appalling. But that's the point. That's the point. You don't buy a Batman game to play as Alfred. I didn't buy a Spider-Man game to play as MJ. And I'm not doing the game is woke and she's ugly. I'm not on that wavelength. Those dudes are weird. I have no agreement and alignment with those boys. I don't even call them men. They're boys. I have no agreement or alignment with these anti-woke boys. But as a gameplay element, I thought it was dumb. So I think there are legitimate criticisms of Spider-Man 2. I don't think any of them are to the degree that you could say this is a bad game or this game is overrated or this game is not very good. MJ amounts to like 3 to 4% of the entire game's gameplay experience. You know, you can eat around that. And the story elements, that's just a matter of perspective. You know, I don't... I don't necessarily care about the story being, going in directions that like I didn't agree with or something. I thought it was a perfectly fine story. Now I want an Alfred spin-off game. Yeah, for real. He beat Superman. Well, again, I know. You guys know the point that I'm making, though. The point that I'm making is when you buy a game to play as Spider-Man, you don't want to play as, like, the non-superhero character who has to be given stronger powers just to make it serviceable and enjoyable. The answer would have been, just don't do any more MJ missions. That was the answer. They could have gone in either direction. People didn't really like this. So then don't do it. Instead of like, people didn't really like this, so let's turn her into John Wick with a taser. I just didn't think that that was the right choice creatively. And I'm not in charge. It's their game. They're allowed to do whatever the heck they want. I want to educate these people in chat. That trip about the Batmobile. Listen, the Batmobile is not that big of a deal in Arkham Knight. It's actually a further evolution and extension of Batman as the Dark Knight, as the one who is basically having to, you know, take over and save Gotham. I agree about the stealth boss fight. It's stupid. And there were a couple interactions where you had to use it that were a little goofy. But the Batmobile, by and large, added a significant element to Arkham Knight. Racing through the city, shooting, fighting, the little tank fights. I thought it was awesome. I loved it. You're allowed to not like it, but I do think people overstate its presence in the game. It was not as bad as people make it out to be. They make it out to be like it's this game-ruining thing. It's like, homie, have you ever jumped into it or jumped out of it when you call it like, I'm Batman, bro? Like, you are so much like, I'm Batman. It's awesome. It's awesome. It adds some good stuff. There's elements to it that I agree are pretty bad, but I do think people tend to overstate the Batmobile in Arkham Knight. So, let's see here. Guys, quickly, double check that you've smashed the like button, man. Thanks so much for tuning in. If you've never been here before, this is Reforge Gaming. I go by Lono. We're going through gaming news, and you can pretty much ask me about anything going on in gaming news. But if you hit the like button, it helps the video find more people. So take a quick second and make sure you've hit the like button. We have a goal for the week of 500 members, and if you guys hit it early today, I owe you a 50 bomb of members. I owe you 50. And if a couple more of you upgrade your existing membership, I owe you a 20. We've got a lot of incentives going where I give back. And I will be playing, this stupid freaking game. We have 2 people that have upgraded today. I swear I need to write it down and have it on the desk. Why can I not remember the name of this dadgum game? I always want to say Alone in the Dark or Don't Say a Word or whatever. A Quiet Place. Jiminy Christmas. Quiet Place. I'm not a quiet person, so maybe that word just doesn't, my brain is like, what's that? What's quiet? What's a quiet place? Like, I would die in that world. I wouldn't make it, you know? Somebody would like do something or move something, and I'd be like, do you see? This is what I'm talking about. This is what we, and I'd be dead. Don't hit it early. Save Lono some money. Well, if you hit it early, you also set yourself up nice for tomorrow, because if you guys hit stretch, we add a whole other segment. We bring back Friday night with Madam, because we've moved Friday to Friday afternoons, because a lot of you couldn't come to Friday night. So you get 2 segments now on Friday if you hit it. So, question here from Roger. This is something you can do as a paying member or as a gifted member. You can submit questions with the question command. And he says, do you think there will be a show for the 30th anniversary? I have it on very good authority that they are planning a show to celebrate PlayStation's 30th anniversary in the first or second week of December. This is seemingly when the first-party studios are finally going to rise up out of the water like Godzilla, like they've been asleep, and they're going to be like, this is what we've been doing. This is what I've been told. A good number, a really, really good number of first-party studios will be at this alleged 30th anniversary showcase celebration. Thanks for getting in contact with us regarding your issues with the PlayStation Stars program. We are actively investigating this issue with the relevant teams and expect to have it resolved soon. Maybe that's why the money's not showing up. Maybe that's why you guys can't get the gift cards. Are those intended to be deprecated, like they got rid of them? Yeah, maybe we'll finally see Wolverine. Yeah, I was going to pull up the live stream and see if I could switch to... Yeah, they've made it to where... I don't understand this. They have made it to where I cannot switch off of top messages on mobile. Why did they do that? There's no way for me to toggle off of Top Chat on the mobile app. I just updated the app today to see if that was something that I needed to do. Sean Layden's recent comment should be seen as that of a strategic advisor at Tencent rather than a former SIE exec. It's bizarre. Can somebody get me the entire context of Sean Layden's remarks? I find him to be very insightful and intelligent, and I'm curious as to what exactly he said. I feel like we're falling prey to headline hunting. You can? Weird. I can't all of a sudden on iPhone. I come to this live stream and it's only top messages. I can't switch it to live chat from Top Chat. I no longer have that option. Yeah, I again would like to see the full context of Sean Layden's remarks. More unrealistic, Aloy fighting a giant dinosaur machine with a bow and arrow, or MJ using a taser on people with a weak symbiote making them act crazy. As Doc Stark says, there's levels to this. You can't compare the two games, though. You can't compare the two games. She's never... It's never a matter of like, oh, she's just using a bow and arrow. Number one, she is using a bow and arrow, but she's able to use advanced technology to scan for weaknesses and hit the weaknesses. She's also a lifelong trained warrior that has survived the wild environment that she lives in. She's not just a normal person with a taser. Like, it's not the same. In the universe that Mary Jane lives in, she shouldn't be able to do those things. There's no context to explain it. Yeah, Aloy is basically Batman, right? Like, she's got advanced tech. She's a trained, really, really impressive warrior. Like, she's not just some person. And in the universe of Spider-Man, Mary Jane is just a normal, everyday person. It's not even about her being a woman. It's about, it could have been anybody, right? Who's the guy in what's his name? The guy who always wants to take the pictures and he's friends with Peter Parker. I forget his freaking name. If it would have been him, I'd have said the same thing. It's just a normal person with a taser. It's not even about her being a woman. It's about the fact that it's not a superhero fighting things that are so insanely strong. They're able to take down Spider-Man. MJ was trained with Silver Sable people. She mentioned it in the game. So she has some training. Okay. I don't think that training overcomes the power of the people that she's fighting, though. She's literally fighting. At one point, she's like, isn't she like shooting the symbiotes or something? Or like running? Jimmy Olsen, thank you. I wanted to say Jimmy, and I doubted myself. I was like, I'm pretty sure it's Jimmy, the guy who's always trying to take the pictures. It doesn't matter who it is. It doesn't matter who it is. It's like, it just, we're not going to see eye to eye on it. I thought it was silly. You don't have to think it's silly. That's fine. There's a real boost of Xbox Series X sales in Japan, while the PS5 sales are stagnant. Here's the difference between 2 weeks ago and now. Didn't we just see a report that the difference between the two consoles in Japan most recently was like abysmal? Wait. I don't think... I'm not even going to get into it. Oh. Sven says, with a member-only Q&A here, he says, why are so many weirdos concerned with an animated video game character being attractive? I mean, it's pattern recognition that I think is fair to acknowledge, right? So I understand what the people are saying. I just think that they're not accurate in their assessment. Like, I don't think they're like delusional or irrational. They're seeing a pattern outside of games, and then they're seeing that pattern start to make landfall in certain games. It's undeniable, and it's fine. I'm not upset about it. Ultimately, what I think it comes down to is a matter of authorial intent and context, right? If the game is setting out to be more grounded in reality, like we'll use Spider-Man 2 as an example, okay? In Spider-Man 2, you have Black Cat, who is like va 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 voom, and then you have MJ, who's just sort of like cute girl next door. Like they're opposite ends of the spectrum of like what they're meant to represent. Because in real life, there are women who look like Black Cat, and then there are women who look like MJ, okay? And that's totally fine. And then you play a game like Stellar Blade, where every woman is hyper attractive because it's set in sort of this fantasy world where these cyborg enhanced women or whatever are like coming down to fight these monsters. So it's not grounded in reality. It's just like if you go and you play Horizon Forbidden West. There are different characters that look old, young, frumpy, really attractive, less attractive. Like they're all across a spectrum because Horizon Forbidden West is more grounded in reality. Yes, it's got like advanced technology and it's like set in the future, but it's grounded in our world, our buildings, the world that it's imagining that we would leave behind if these things have happened. So I think that's what always gets lost in the discussion. It's like if you're looking at the actual context, then yes, sometimes it makes way more sense for somebody to look like, you know, Eve from Stellar Blade, and then somebody to look more like MJ in Spider-Man. So I believe a lot of it's misdiagnosis. I just think it's a misdiagnosis. Like, they're also misleading people. That's part of the problem with this. It's so difficult to know, am I talking to somebody who's an absolute buffoon, who's just angry and taking out his anger on the world, or am I dealing with a sucker who's been misled by a YouTuber? There was the one screenshot where they made it seem like Nathan Drake was replaced by women, and that wasn't true. Nathan Drake's story came to a great conclusion. It was a wonderful game, and I believe it received awards. And they did a spin-off game for $40 that was highly praised, beloved by fans. Nobody complained about the spin-off Uncharted game. But now it gets thrown into a YouTube video to lie and mislead people to make it seem like, there's a pattern here, boys. You know, they're replacing, you know, the white male lead with women. And it's like, no, they're not, you liar. Like, what are you doing? And similar thing happened with Ratchet and Clank. Ratchet was not replaced by Rivet. They established a game with two universes. It was really creative, really cool. It was quite literally what they leveraged the tech to do. They wanted to have a game where you were hopping between universes. And it's not even this masculine male lead. He's a made-up creature, and he has like a high-pitched voice. There's nothing about him that's like, you know, yeah, he's this super masculine, tough, brave Lombax. That game also doesn't even serve the purposes of the argument. You look stupid. It's like, did you play Ratchet and Clank? Were you around when the spin-off Uncharted game came out? Every time we've had this discussion, people always have to use dishonest tactics to establish this pattern. A photoshopped picture of Aloy, a really bad screenshot of MJ, right? Or they'll try to use Abby in The Last of Us. And it's like, Abby as a character is supposed to look like that. They didn't make her ugly. She just looks like an MMA fighter. And some people find that attractive. So that's, again, subjective. There's also pretty characters in The Last of Us. It's grounded in reality, right? They look like normal, real people surviving in a fungus zombie apocalypse. Nobody's gonna be walking around looking like a supermodel anymore. They're not gonna have like makeup and hair and hairspray and gel, like they're all going to look a little disheveled. Yeah, I actually think later in the game when Abby's not so like grizzly and fighting, I actually think she's pretty. I think the person that they modeled her after has a nice body. I'm like, I don't find it attractive, but that's impressive work. Someone's like, women aren't built like that. And it's like, it's literally based off of a real woman's body, which obviously you're talking to somebody who might not know what that is or has ever seen one in person. So it's like, that's the issue. It's like, are you seeing pattern recognition from a liar? These YouTubers are liars. They misrepresent, they grift, they use bad screenshots or Photoshop screenshots, or they completely misrepresent things like Nathan Drake was not replaced by women, Ratchet was not replaced by a woman, like Jin Sakai is not being replaced by a woman. His story is complete. You didn't play it. The people that are out here like yelling and screaming and are angry about Jin Sakai, all you're doing is betraying the fact that you didn't play the dadgum game, and if you did, you weren't paying attention. His story comes to a very satisfactory conclusion. We don't need any more with him, and I don't think you want him leaving the island of Tsushima. I think it would actually be a disservice to what you do in the game. Do you care about the story? Do you care about the art like you claim you do? Then if you did, why would you want him to walk away from everything he accomplishes in the first game? You didn't play the game. You suspect. You don't care about the game. You suspect. You're just a grifting liar. They don't care about Jin Sakai. They care about clicks. They don't care about the integrity of the art. They're trying to make money. They didn't play Ghost of Tsushima. And if they did, they didn't pay attention. And if they did, they don't even have the remotest grasp of the story of Jin Sakai. I'll tell you about it. It's one of my favorite games. I played it for, I don't even know at this point, 80 hours, 70 hours? You know nothing about these games. You just grift off of them to make money. Like the irony. The irony of posturing like you care when you don't even know what you're talking about. So, the reason people are concerned about the attractiveness of characters in video games is they're either working through their own personal frustrations and their sense of powerlessness, and they want something to hurl their rage at, and this is an easy target. I think a lot of these disenfranchised, frustrated men, they have legitimate reasons to feel devalued and angry, but they're taking a terrible path. If you feel angry right now, if you feel frustrated and devalued and diminished as a man, there are good reasons that you feel that way. These things have happened. You have been talked about and treated in a way that has been bad, but you're not choosing a very good path. You're just choosing to believe lies. You're just choosing to believe lies. You're buying into a dialogue and an idea, like you're buying into basically like just grifters who are essentially, and this is the grand irony. This is the grand irony is, they're making money off of your frustration, which is worse. It's worse. The people that have spoken ill about men or have devalued men, whatever wave of feminism you want to blame this on, okay, they're not as bad as somebody making money off your frustration. Don't you see who the real villain is? Don't you see? You need to wake up. You're serving a machine and you're funneling money to people who don't give a frick about you. They want you to stay angry. They want you to stay frustrated because they make money off of it. They're not seeking your good. They are not seeking your good. If you were flourishing and had peace and a sense of stoicism about all of this and you were nonplussed by it, they would make less money. If you were flourishing as a man and you were in self-control and you had discipline, mental and emotional discipline, they would make less money. They're making money off of your sense of frustration. They don't want you to be free from it. They're serving as your captor. And you're like, may I have some more? So, that's why people care about how attractive a character is in a video game. Next question. Do you give out candy on the 31st or not? Because we have a child with an allergy, we do the teal pumpkin. If you're not aware of the teal pumpkin, you can put a teal light on your porch or a teal pumpkin on your porch, and that signifies to people that you are going to give away non-candy items, because there are children who cannot trick or treat because of their allergy, but they can if there's teal pumpkins, because they get like a cool little toy or a trinket or some type of an item. So, yeah. So that's something that not a lot of people know about. More and more people are becoming aware of. You can do teal pumpkin and offer that. You can still do candy. You can do both. So if you really like to do trick-or-treating and you want to be like gracious to the kiddos that have allergies, because it's so sad, like they can't participate. It's a bummer. Like all their friends run out and get candy and are cheering and they can't. Think about the mind of a child. Like that's such a bummer to feel left out of something that is so like elated. You know, the night is exciting and candy is fun, right? So you can do teal pumpkin. You can buy them, put them on your porch, and then have a basket of just little fun items, like use little slinkies or goofy little there's usually like sticky balls and just goofy things that people like to give away around that time of the year. So, and then we like to do trick-or-treating. We like to do trick-or-treating. We have a great neighborhood for it. We can hop over one neighborhood, and there's this place that goes crazy for Christmas and Halloween. Yo, Will Hancock with a gifted member. Thank you so much. Taking us to 417. I appreciate the support so much of the channel. Back in the day, your house got TP. Yeah, you can't really TP houses now with rings, because you'll get recorded. They'll catch you. People know what it is, and kids actually don't care. If the trinkets are cool, like we're not giving away like apples or like boxes of raisins. They get like a toy. I've never seen a kid get upset about it. They're like, oh, cool. Like, you know what I mean? Kids are generally pretty easy to please if you give them like a fun little toy. Like they're not like angry about it not being a candy bar that they eat and is gone. Like it's a toy they can play with for, a couple of days. Yo, Doe Devas with the 5-bomb gets us close to the next milestone where I owe you guys some members. 422. Thank you, Doe Devas. Raphael says, has PlayStation announced the PS Pro plates? I believe the PS Slim plates will fit it. They're the same size. It's just that the top plate it's taller, but it's because of that little midsection with the 3 lines. The plates should be the same. Not plates for the traditional PlayStation 5, the original. The new slim version of the PlayStation 5, the plates should be compatible. So, it was a joke. Well, no, some people will do that. They'll get mad if you don't give away something cool, and you'd get like egged or TP'd back in the day. But we're at least giving away stuff that kids think are cool or exciting or whatever. So, thank you guys so much for the support of the PlayStation sunsetting Bungie video. It is pulling way up. So if you guys have watched that video or left a comment, I greatly appreciate that, man. It's been so nice to lean in on uploads. This guy says videos like this are so cringe, and your comments not cringe. First time I agreed with a decision like this. Same. They bought Bungie to destroy it because they never had Halo. I don't think that's why. That's why. I don't think that's why, bro. So thanks for all the comments and the interaction on that video. I appreciate it very much. Hang on 1 second here. Unconfirmed from Reddit. PlayStation 5 Pro and PS5 Slim plates are not interchangeable? This guy's saying here that he got this answer. While they have similar design language, there's some key differences. The PS5 Pro has a slightly different shape and a different venting system, which means the plates won't be interchangeable. Specifically, the top and the bottom plates are different between the two models. This guy here says, only the disk drive and the vertical stand will be swappable. I asked PS support. It sounds like I'm incorrect. So they're acknowledging that they're very similar in size, but it's the shape that's different. So your disk drive will be compatible and the vertical stand. That's unfortunate because they're so similar. 3 stripes of the vents. Right, but think about this, Milos. The 3 stripes just takes the top plate and it just goes up a little bit. If it's the same size plate, you just clip it on up there. That's unfortunate that they weren't able to keep the form factor the same, because that means people that have plates on their Slims are going to have to get new plates. Maybe they'll give you some kind of trade-in on it or something if you ask them. Sony released a chat in Japan showing that it doesn't work. Really? That's a bummer, because it did. Like, I remember one day we were in here, like, looking at pictures and kind of trying to measure, and we were like, it's like the same exact size. It's just the vents shove the one plate up a bit more. It admittedly seems odd because of how they limited sales of the plates. Right, and the fact that the disk drive's compatible. That seems like a strange choice. Doesn't the plates are 2 separate pieces? Is it what it looks like? I'm talking about the Slim plates, Milosh. If you look at the Slim that they released earlier this year, where there's a line in the middle of it, and you look at the Pro, the actual vertical height of the lower section and the top section plate is the same. The Pro is taller because there's 3 vents, there's 3 lines instead of 1. Does that make sense? It's like, just because those 3 lines are there doesn't mean the plate up top is bigger. It just goes up higher. They look very, very similar. Oh, it's been confirmed. Here, let me show you guys an image. Okay, well, I'll have to remember this in the future for this conversation, because there are people that have been asking, and I don't want to give them bad information. So we've got plates down here. Here, yeah, way, way down at the bottom. These split plates, see where my mouse is? The very bottom row. They're not compatible with the early gen, obviously, because there's a split. They're also not compatible with the Pro. They're so similar. That's crazy. You know what I bet it is? I bet it's the angle of the split. Let me see if I can get a better picture. PS5 Slim, PS5 Pro. Let's see if we can get them in the same image so I can show you what I'm thinking. I think it's the angle. Open image in a new tab. All right. So if I had to theorize, the angle of the bottom plate looks like it's coming up at a sharper angle, and then the angle on the Pro looks like it's not as sharp. Does that make sense? Like, consider the angle that's formed back here where I'm circling, right? I feel like there are more degrees. Like, this angle is more obtuse, and this angle over here is more... Would we say acute? Is that how you use those terms in math? I think that's how you use those words. So I think the angle is sharper up on the Slim than on the Pro. They're roughly the same size, but the shape is slightly different. Yeah. That's a bummer that people are going to have to get new plates. Like I said, maybe they'll give you some kind of a trade-in. That's never fun when you invest in something like that and then you're like, oh, I got to get all new stuff. Apple does that too. They'll change the size of the phone by like 0.2 inches. Yeah. They look the same to me, Engineer Lono. You could probably literally draw lines in a program and measure the angles, and I think it would prove me correct that the Slim angle, it's coming up more. Like, see, like if you make an angle, it's coming up more. It's more of like it's more inclined up, and the Pro has got a less of an incline on that swipe up. Yeah, if you're upgrading from the OG, like I've got Spider-Man plates, they're just gonna stay where they are. Yeah. Jamal, thank you so much for your question. Guys, as members, you can submit questions, and thanks so much for being here today and supporting the channel. I've had a great time with y'all today, and we're just going to keep on going. Keep smashing the like button as well. Let's try to get 40 more likes on the video. Let's get 400 likes. And if you guys want to make a mad dash on the member count, you might get a 50 bomb from me today. Okay. Jamal says, did you see the new game that dropped today called Void Rot? It's a Metroidvania. I think this is on my wish list. Let me double check. I feel like this is on my wish list. It'll be easier just to go to the store and search it than scrolling through my ever-growing wish list on Steam. Let's check. Void Rot. It is not on my wish list, and it did drop today. Oh, this is that one that looks like Hollow Knight. Hang on, my capture card will fix itself in a second. Yes, this is the one that's like 100% inspired by Hollow Knight. This is out today. I think this looks great. Obviously, a game like this needs to play well. The mechanics look really cool. Got laser and then like moving through the walls. You can play this before Silk Song comes out. Oh, he gets like an arm, like a glowing arm. These boss fights look very, very cool and creative. Oh, I'm getting this. I am getting this. What platforms is this on? This looks fantastic. Oh, I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. What platforms is this coming out on? Do you know? I'm going to throw that on the wish list so I don't forget about it. Let's go see. Void Rot. Is it on PlayStation? Let me go to their homepage here. They have a voidrot.com. Wishlist on Steam, Epic, and Nintendo. Ay! Dang it. I mean, I don't mind playing games on Steam now that I've got a rig in the living room that if a game is good enough, I'll play out there. Like I was playing Witchfire out there, as well as Deep Rock Galactic Survivor. I'm really, really wanting Deep Rock Galactic Survivor to add co-op. I don't know if they're ever going to. Oh, that's a bummer. I would have loved to have played that on the PlayStation. I don't think it has co-op, does it? No, it's just single player. That game looks awesome. That game looks awesome. Thank you for bringing that to my attention. I am going to add that to tomorrow's show. Report this product. No, where's the share button? Isn't the share button usually down here? Next to the report and embed? Where's the... Chat, help me out here. I thought on Steam when you scrolled down below where the little flag was... Oh, is that what embed lets me do? I don't want to embed it. I just want the link. Where's the share button? I feel like I've lost my mind. All right, I'll just use the link that you put in chat, Sven. I want to put that in my put that in my room here, because I've got that and another game called Sulfur to put into the show open. You can right click on the page. Oh, when I'm in the Steam app. Oh, copy page URL. I didn't know you could do that in Steam. I'm usually on my phone. And I scroll down to where the little flag is to report it, and there's the little box to share, and then I just copy the link, and then I just throw it in Discord for later. I've never been in the Steam app and needed to do that because I just add it to my wish list. Usually somebody provides a link, and then it just opens up my my Steam application. So that's interesting. I didn't know you could do that. Gavin stole the button. It's just weird that it would be there on browser. Like, I don't get why it's there on browser but not in the app. It's not a big deal. It's just like, it's just a nice little button right down there. How do you like Witchfire? I like it quite a bit. It's a bit of a grind. It's a bit of a grind. You really kind of grind and level up weapons and unlock things, and then unlock the weapons. Like they have like their hidden abilities. So yeah, I like it. It's very good. Sulfur looks cool. It does look cool. It looks like a very simplified it looks like a very, very simplified like rogue shooter. Sorry. Okay. Thank you for the recommendation, Jamal. Thank you again. Guys, double check that you don't have any member renewals, especially if you're on Member Plus or VIP, and then double check that it has saved your like. We only need 39 more likes. You guys are crushing it today. Lone Wolf says, so with your bet, with our bet, we'll pay out when the scores settle the next day. Yeah, let's wait 24 hours. Yeah, let's wait 24 hours. That's fair. Do we call it a tie if it's an 85? Because you said up, I said low. So if it's right on 85, we just call it a tie and we both gift. or do you win if it's 85? I can't remember. I feel like I lose if it's 85 because I said low and you said high, but 85 is not high either. I feel like we both lose at 85, so that's like a draw. So, okay. Have you checked out Awaken Astral Blade? I did. That's a great reason to be Member Plus or VIP on my channel. That's in a gameplay stream where I checked out Awaken Astral Blade, I checked out Billionaire, and I checked out Munch all in one stream. So you guys got to see 3 games. I have used my my green room time with you guys for Member Plus and VIPs to show off Nimrods, Guncraft Survivor, Ember Knights, Witchfire, Brotato, To Kill a God, Realm of Ink. There's been a lot of really fun games that I've shown you guys. That's a great reason to be at Member Plus or VIP. So, are you going to try Path of Exile 2 Early Access next month? Yes, I am. I'm actually really excited about that. I hope that it can be a little bit more approachable than Path of Exile 1, because I would love to play it with my wife. My wife and I really loved Diablo 3, and Diablo 4 just didn't do it for us. Now, I know it's gotten better, but I think I'm going to, from everything I've seen, I think I'm going to enjoy Path of Exile's moment-to-moment combat a lot more. I feel like they've just poured so much into that element of the game that I'm really excited. So, and it also seems like it'll be more approachable. This guy has a question. Your video about Destiny from 2 hours ago, is this a good thing for Destiny or a bad thing? Yo, John Sucks 999. To submit questions like that, to have them show up, you do need to be a member. So if you want to do that, click join and then make sure you pick Member Plus. That's the tier you guys want to pick if you're a brand new member. And if 3 more people do that today, I drop a 20 bomb. And also you can upgrade if you have an existing membership. I'll answer your question, but if you want it to like pop up like some of the other questions, that's a feature of being a member. So here's the thing. I think it can be a good thing for Destiny, yes. For PlayStation to step in, retain talent, retain the IP, and get rid of bad leadership and toxicity, I think long-term that can be good for Destiny, yes. I think Bungie being sunset and PlayStation retaining the talent in the game, I think that's the best thing that could happen to Destiny, personally. So, yes. Yeah. You do not have to pay me money to ask me questions. We just do this fun thing where when somebody asks a question, I can have it pop up on the screen. This is like a feature, you get featured, in the video as a member. That's like a perk of being a member. But you never have to pay me money to ask me a question. So don't ever feel like you have to super chat or be a member to ask questions. It's a highly interactive stream. If you consistently ask what I feel like is a good discussion question or a good topic, I will always try to give you an answer and a response. So hang on, Drexen. I'll answer your question in just a second. Liquid Smoke with 41 months says, count it. That's a Member Plus. And so does Deity Anubis says, sorry, I'm late, but I'm here. And we're right on the doorstep then of a 425. One more, and I owe you guys 5. Yeah, Black Ops 6 releases globally tonight. Yeah. So, Drexen asked a question. Got your Game of the Year games decided yet? I think there are just some obvious choices here. I think your top 3 that are undeniably getting nominations are Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, Astrobot, and Metaphor. I think Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth is also up there. The next 2 are a toss-up. Stalker 2 could get up there according to the previews. Animal Well could sneak up there. There's Balatro could sneak up there. Like, there's smaller titles that could sneak up there. Helldivers 2 could sneak up there just because it had so much acclaim earlier in the year. There's a lot of games that could sneak into the next 2. Yo, Grady, with 20 months, does it. Keep up the good work, brother. I don't always get to chat because I'm working, but I enjoy the content. Well worth the membership. Thank you for that endorsement, Grady. And you got us to 425, but then Agent of Chaos, 426. Edward's going to push us past with his Member Plus renewal. Excited to play Horizon Zero Dawn Remastered next week. The Digital Foundry breakdown was thoroughly enjoyable, and the $10 upgrade is absolutely worth it. I owe you guys 5 members. Thank you so much for doing that. And just continuing to renew, upgrade, and support the channel. This channel is not a very large YouTube channel. I do this full time, and it's because of you guys. I genuinely mean that. This is possible because of the memberships and the generosity from so many of you. Is that next week? Yeah, Horizon Zero Dawn Remaster is next week. And the Digital Foundry breakdown was quite good. I opened up the show today with a lot of tidbits from John Linneman. And we now have the most we've ever had. 567 people are at Member Plus and above. That's the real big member goal. That's the thing we're working on. 567 people are at Member Plus and above. The gifteds are how we do this, but gifteds are always going to drop out after 30 days. So if you don't want that to happen, jump in, upgrade, grab yourself a Member Plus. Yes, Corden says Helldivers 2 on Xbox would blow up like Sea of Thieves on PlayStation blew up. I don't think it would harm PlayStation even slightly to put Helldivers 2 on Xbox, but it would be a big boost for the game studio and Sony too. I don't know if I completely fully agree or disagree with what Jez is saying. Like, I'm kind of torn. I don't know. It's kind of a mixture of both. And a 5-bomb from Cybersword says, come on, boys. If we hit 500, Lono has to drop a 50-bomb today. Thank you so much, Cybersword. Anytime you guys get 100 ahead of pace, I drop a 50-bomb. So thank you so much. My brain is in disagreement with itself here. Like, part of me wants to say, I think he's right. I think a lot of people on Xbox would sort of storm into Helldivers. But I think the problem is the Series S. And the other problem is I just don't think you have enough people. I think if they're going to do something with Helldivers to expand the player base, you would port it to the PS4. There are way more PlayStation 4s than Series X's and S's. Like, if you're going to take the time to try to get Helldivers 2 to run on the Series S, you might as well not do that. Don't sully your brand identity as being like a PlayStation title and bring it to the PS4. That would make more sense. Like, their refusal to put that on PS4 is either a technical reason or a brand reason. Maybe a bit of both. If that's the case, then I don't see it coming to Xbox. And I remember saying that I would be okay with that. I would want that because as long as they could get it to run well on the Series S, that's better for your live service game. I'm always in support of a live service game being everywhere. I don't think Helldivers 2 is integral to the PlayStation identity like God of War or Horizon, where you like, no, you've got to keep this as a console exclusive. Like, I don't mind those games going to PC because I feel like that still retains the identity of like, these are console exclusive games. But live service games to me are always different. So it's like, yeah, go ahead, put it on Xbox if it's going to help the player funnel. But what I don't think would be helpful is now you have 2 more platforms that the developers have to support. Anytime they do an update, a patch, they try to fix something, add something, they want to add a new enemy, add a new weapon, new explosions, new whatever. Then you've got to wrangle with making sure it runs well on Series S and X. That's just more work for them that you'd have to justify that by saying, oh no, enough people are going to pay and play and pay into the game's monetization structure on Xbox. Not saying it's worth it, but it seems like they could absolutely get it on the S. The min specs aren't very... So min specs on Steam's 8 gig of RAM and NVIDIA GeForce 1050. Right, but how well does it run on min spec on a rig like that on PC? You see what I'm saying? Would they want to is the question, Lone Wolf. So anybody who's playing on a PC at that level is accepting the rough edges of the game. They're accepting the rough performance. All that means is the game will run. It doesn't mean it will run well. You bring a game to the Series S, and you're going to be adding new weapons, new explosions, new enemies, new whatever. It's got to run well on the S. You can't just give them slop. That's not a good idea. So somebody running Helldivers 2 on min specs is probably not having the greatest experience with respect to performance. So, I don't think so. Yo, what's good, Doc Dark? We talking PC? I know PC. Ask me. I don't think people understand. Sony sees themselves as Apple. Both Sony and Apple think everyone should get their products. They're not going to compromise their product for people. Right. Even their efforts on PC, as Herman Hulse said, is done in an effort to bring people over to the console. That's their goal. So, yeah, I think that would be a lot of effort if they're going to try to get Helldivers 2 to run on a weaker console. They would port it back to the PlayStation 4 because there's so many people back there. I don't think they're going to do that because we're midway through the gen and that support's now done. They're not going to be doing that anymore with their first-party stuff. So I don't think you'll ever see Helldivers 2 on PlayStation 4, and I also then don't think you'll ever see it on Xbox. I don't. Xbox's hardware distribution just continues to slow and go down. There's no reason to go over there. You're far better off having just one more reason for Xbox guys to come to PlayStation. Think about the big picture here. Think about the big picture. PlayStation's doing nothing, and they're just getting Xbox games. Indiana Jones, according to Mag, middle-aged gamer guy, according to Mag, you're getting everything. You're getting Avowed, you're getting Doom. We already knew we were getting Doom. So Indiana Jones and Doom we knew about. But then, according to him, we're getting Avowed, we're getting Fable, we're getting Gears of War. And PlayStation doesn't have to do anything. They're just sitting there. That's just more. Every time that happens, that's another reason to come over to PlayStation. You keeping Helldivers 2 off of Xbox is one more reason to switch. One more reason. They're giving them Indiana Jones. They're giving them Doom. They're giving them this. They're giving them that. And my friends play Helldivers every once in a while, and I know they have a good time. I might as well just get a PlayStation. The bigger picture there is I don't see PlayStation prioritizing in the least bringing anything to Xbox. There's no business impetus at all. There's just no business impetus. They always have the least amount of sales of every game that releases. You're dealing with the Game Pass culture. You're dealing with the smaller ecosystem of consumers. You're dealing with the Series S. That's an awful lot of things that you got to deal with. And you're also taking your property over there for what? I agree. There's no reason for Helldivers to go to Xbox, says Doc, unless they really want to reach as many players as possible. Right. And I don't even think that's the goal, because the goal of Helldivers was... Yeah, Blade's multiplat, no doubt. I said Blade was multiplat when they announced it, and I got a ton of hate for it, but, that's just the way things go. Nobody likes to hear the truth. So, yeah, with that situation, I don't think they even expected Helldivers to be that big of a game. They expected 100,000 concurrents to be their peak. If that's the case, then that means PlayStation's vision for Helldivers is not to get as many players as possible. It's to have a successful, core group of players ongoing. That's why I don't think they care that they've like settled into 40 to 50,000 player concurrence on Steam with Helldivers. I think they're perfectly fine with that. That's half of what they thought their peak was going to be. Like, I want you to imagine you're working on a live service game and you think, best case scenario, we hit 100,000 concurrent players. And you end up with 500,000 concurrents on Steam. 400 and something thousand. Close to 500,000. And then 8 months later, you're pulling roughly half of the peak concurrence you were hoping to get just on Steam. I think you'd be pretty pleased. You'd be like, we were thinking best case scenario, we'd hit like 100,000 concurrent players. We're hitting half of that on Steam 8 months after release. I think Arrowhead's perfectly satisfied with where they are. I don't think they're concerned in the least about their player numbers. And their next game is likely already funded with how insanely commercially successful Helldivers 2 was in its launch month. They could maybe get another million in sales at most, so maybe 15 million in revenue after Xbox takes its cut. I doubt that covers the porting cost. Yeah. Windblown is now available in early access. I'm probably going to check that out with you guys today if I'm not having to do an upload in the afternoon. I've been watching Windblown for a long, long time, and it looks really, really cool. So make sure you've got a Member Plus or VIP going. We only need 3 more people to upgrade today. So try out that upgrade command. See if you can't get an upgrade going. We're going to go to the writer's room in... I don't know. We could maybe go a little bit long today because you guys have been so generous and so kind. You know, I can go a little long today. If you guys want to keep scrambling and trying to hit the 500 number early and then make me drop the 50 bomb, we can probably go for another 25, 30 minutes easy. So keep it going and let me get another question up here for you guys. Liquid Smoke says, who is more OP, MJ with the taser or K-Vess in tall grass? K-Vess is more OP because she can punch a stormtrooper with her bare knuckles and they're just knocked out. I mean, she's a bare knuckle boxing champion. You know what I'm saying? I said we've lost Gorgeous George. Come again. Do you take sugar? No, Turkey. I'm sweet enough. Anyway. Yeah, I think K-Vess is the most OP, dude. She's bare knuckle boxing champion, apparently. She's, yeah. Doc says, Helldivers has succeeded in a space that's very competitive. Sony needs to keep fighting this flame, and going to Xbox might be it. I don't know what else they could do. I think the assumption that they need to do anything with Helldivers might not be a good assumption. I don't think they need to do anything with it. I don't. I think they just need to bide their time and learn. Do updates, do new content, patches, buffs, nerfs, new enemies, develop their own power philosophy, and then that can serve Helldivers 3. That's what I think you do with Helldivers 2. I don't think they need to do anything. I don't. I think they can basically just bide their time. They've made a significant more amount of money than they ever anticipated making, which means they're way more than just like profitable, you know? So I would think that they use the next 2 to 3 years, or maybe the next year, and just gather as much data as they can and then start working on the third game, you know? I don't think they need to do anything. There's no impetus. There's no pressure. There's no, oh my gosh, we've got to get more players. We just keep cranking out the updates, keep doing patches, nerfs, you know, getting feedback from the community. You know, that's what they need to do, is treat Helldivers 2 like it's early access for Helldivers 3. That's what they should be doing. I think bringing it to Xbox torpedoes all of that. That's just a bunch of extra dev work that they don't need to be doing right now. You know? Now, I'd bet $50 that this gets twisted into Reforge port begging pony begs for Halo and Gears to come to PlayStation but doesn't want Helldivers to go to Xbox because people are liars. Like, that's not at all my position. I'd be fine with Helldivers coming to Xbox. I've said that since the beginning. The more players you have in the funnel, the better. From a business perspective, I don't think they're going to do it. I think they're going to focus on gathering as much information as they can and essentially gearing up and doing whatever they can to make Helldivers 3 as amazing as possible. I don't think there's a business impetus for them to bring it to Xbox. They got a great win with Astrobot and Helldivers both charting last month. This month is over. It belongs to COD. If they drop it on Xbox, they might disrupt just a little. I'm going to say the name of one game, Doc, and this game is basically a cautionary tale against what you're advocating for. Can anybody guess what game I'm going to say? You know, try and disrupt it. Try to go up against COD a little bit, right? Right? Titanfall 2. Like, I don't think anybody should ever think, I've got an idea. Let's spend a lot of money and bandwidth and time and work, and let's try to do something when Call of Duty's coming out. Yeah, Lone Wolf and Nightfire got it. Yeah, Titanfall 2. Yeah. No. You don't ever want to go against COD. You know? Never bet against a Sicilian when death is on the line. And never go against Call of Duty in its launch month. Like, I don't think that would be a good idea. And again, I keep coming back to the presumption that they have to do anything, I think is a bad presumption. I don't think Arrowhead has to do anything. They're in a position of power. They don't need to take their game to other platforms. They don't need to expand their reach and their funnel. They have a reliable, loyal base. They're getting good information. They're getting good data. And they've made more than enough money to fund the next game. And we have to remember, PlayStation owns the IP. And I just think PlayStation's going to say no. PlayStation owns Helldivers, and I just think PlayStation's fundamentally going to say that's not in our interest. There's no reason to do that. There's not a single ounce of a reason for any of our property to land on Xbox. They're bringing their games over here. We look like the dominant default position console. Why would we even remotely muddy those waters? There's no reason to. That's good, Lono. Good point. And Titanfall 2 is amazing. Yeah, they tried to go up against COD. They went up like, sandwich between COD and Battlefield, and it murdered Titanfall 2. I'll never forgive them for doing that. Titanfall 2 is a majestic game. It's just fantastic. It's one of the best. Titanfall 2 to this day might be the best first-person shooter campaign that I've ever played. A little on the short side, and the last boss fight's a little disappointing. Outside of that, I think Titanfall 2's campaign is just immaculate. And they killed it. If they would have brought that game out 2 quarters later, when Call of Duty is experiencing like that player fatigue exodus that always happens, Titanfall 2 could have walked in and been like, we're fresh, we're new, we're shiny. Come on, come on over. Question here from the Trill Troll. Which sequel did you enjoy the most? Spider-Man 2, T-Lu 2, Forbidden West, or God of War Ragnarok? Oh, frick. That's a really tough question. It's easier to pick the ones I know I'm not going to pick. Spider-Man 2's off the table. Forbidden West is off the table. I love them, but they're not competing for first. Ragnarok or T-Lu 2? T-Lu 2. He's going to say T-Lu? Yeah, T-Lu 2. Yeah. The Last of Us hangs in the air with you for days after. It hangs in the air with you while you're playing it. the dynamic emergent combat in that game is just unrivaled. I've not played a game like that. I've never played a game like that ever. I was irritated by a couple of things that they did. Like one combat sequence annoyed me, right? And I'm pretty sure it got clipped because, you know, he got a little frustrated. That's what I imagine they sound like. Anyways, one combat sequence frustrated me, and I didn't like some of the things they did with Ellie. But good golly, what a masterpiece that game is. Ragnarok's close in second because fantastic story, great character development, but the Atreus sections got a little long in the tooth, and the off-screen damage, the out of frame off-screen damage can be a little grating sometimes. So, yeah, but Ragnarok's like right there in second. They're all fantastic. Spider-Man 2, Halo 2, Forbidden West, God of War, Ragnarok. I mean, that's what I said when I clipped it. He got a little frustrated. That's good. That's good, Kevin. But, you know, I know people will look at this and try to turn this into a negative, which to me is remarkable, right? Like when a show is really successful and it gets renewed for a second season, like a lot of people said that Shogun was only going to be one season and now you're going to get a second. And then when we heard that like Andor was getting a second season, everybody always celebrates that. And I think when you start to look at video games in that way, you see this is a triumph in our landscape right now. Award-nominated, award-winning, massively commercially successful sequels. Like, that many. Just boom, 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 boom. Ghost of Yote is going to be probably just as big and successful. Like, the trailer alone crushed it. Like, it's very, very popular game already. So, I would say that is such a testimony to what PlayStation Studios have done. It's like they have made new IPs, and then they just... here come the sequels because they just did such a good job. You think you're going to get a sequel to Redfall? You think you're going to get a Hellblade 3? You're going to get a Hi-Fi Rush 2 thanks to some other company that swooped in and saved the day. Not sure if this is new news, but apparently Halo Battle Royale was canceled. I think I'm okay with that. Yeah, I covered that in one of the previous weeks, Doc, where the guy that worked on it said he felt like it was really good. He felt like it was going to be a game changer. The guy from Certain Affinity. It could still come. It could still come out. It's shelved, but that doesn't mean it's gone for forever. Rocket League sat on a shelf as like an internal fun game mode that these guys built to play together. It sat on a shelf for years. And now it's like one of the more popular free-to-play games out there. A few of those are about to drop new IPs. Yeah, Blue Point's working on a new IP. Housemarque is working on a new IP. Bend is working on a new IP. That's 3. Am I forgetting somebody? Barlog's got a new IP. Cory Barlog from Santa Monica. That's 4. There could be more in the mix. I mean, Wolverine will be a quote-unquote new IP. For me, it's Spider-Man 2, Forbidden West, Ragnarok, Halo 2. Oh, so you'd put them in almost the exact opposite order that I... Literally, the exact opposite order that I would. Yeah, mine's Halo first, Ragnarok second, Forbidden West third, and Spider-Man would be fourth. Yeah. Yeah. Naughty Dog. Naughty Dog has a new IP. Yeah. Is Sony killing Destiny? Is Bungie going to be okay over there? I think it's the exact opposite, Doc. I think they want Destiny. My video this morning about PlayStation sunsetting Bungie, I think Sony made a long tail play because people are like, man, what a terrible purchase that PlayStation made. I don't think so. If it was that bad, then they wouldn't have worked to keep They grabbed 40 people for a spin-up studio. Out of the last batch of layoffs, they snagged 40 people, and they're spinning up a studio to work on one of the projects. And they just grabbed 155 people to help them with live service games out of Bungie. They want the talent, the data, the tech, the insight, and the IP. They don't want Bungie. Like the Bungie leadership, the Bungie culture, being put out to pasture. Good riddance. Heartfelt in the marrow of my bones. Good riddance to so many of those people at Bungie. The leadership and the toxicity. Bye. Smell that, Ike? Smells like somebody died. Like, bye. The hope that I have is that leads to good things for Destiny. I hope it leads to good things for Destiny. I hope it leads to good things for the talent, the people at the company that aren't toxic, the people at the company that make good stuff, that have good ideas. That's what I hope. Girl said, peep the second part of my question. Did you like the original or the sequels more? I liked Forbidden West more than Zero Dawn. I liked Spider-Man 2 more than Spider-Man 1. I liked TLOU 2 more than 1, and I liked Ragnarok more than 2018. Yeah. Yeah, I like the sequels more than the first. Yeah. This is not you, let it go. Oh, no. I mean that heartfelt. There are nasty people in leadership at that company, and you got to get them out of there. There are people right now that are still at that company that like go to work every day in fear because of just retaliation and toxicity and nastiness. Kick these people to the curb. Just get them out, dude. They're bad for your game. They're bad for your company. Get the old guard out. They're killing the game and they're killing the studio from the inside out. I firmly believe that. And listen, I've just been sitting here doing my thing, rebuilding my career, and people are getting their comeuppance just by the nature of the way they've lived their lives. Just keep your eyes on the headlines, boys. There's more coming. Guaranteed. Yeah, Doc, I knew you liked Zero Dawn better than Forbidden West. I just thought that the world and the story and the characters in Forbidden West was just so good. That dude that lost his arm, homie that lost his arm, oh my gosh. He was like one of my favorite characters in the second game. Loved it. Loved it. I will agree with you that yes, Zero Dawn's story is way better. I thought the story in Forbidden West, it irritated me on the back half. Number one, you take out my boy Varl. Why? Number two, you keep doing this. You think you know what's going on, but haha, you don't. They did that too many times in Forbidden West. Zero Dawn's story was like perfect, immaculately told, and Forbidden West gets really flat tire in the back third, maybe the back fourth. The last couple of hours of that game, I was so irritated with the story. I did not like what they were doing. I really didn't. Here we go. Otavio Cruz. Lono, is there a chance you could create a Steam list that we can follow to see the games that you're suggesting? I'd have to go back when we started this format. Yeah, I'll be streaming the Black Ops 6 campaign tomorrow. I could go back to all my Word documents and do that for you guys. It might take a little bit of time, but I could do that. I didn't even think about that, like creating a list, like a Reforge Gaming recommends list for you guys. Doc says, I play Sony games for the story. I'm playing Ghost of Tsushima right now, and I don't see how you make a better sequel. This story is amazing. I think Doc, I'm here to tell you, if you play all the way through the main game and you play through the Icky Island expansion, they had to leave Jin behind because it's such a good and complete story. You don't, number one, I went on a rant about this earlier. You don't want to take him off of Tsushima to another island or another location, you know? And I just think you can overstay your welcome with a character. I really think you can. And so I'm excited about the sequel for that reason alone. It's like they're just going to leave Jin alone. I fully support the decision as a huge fan of Tsushima. It's like, it's one of my all-time favorite games. So, all right, here's what we're going to do. I'm going to take these next two questions. You guys have like 5 minutes. You have 5 minutes. If you want to try to get to 450, I'll owe you 5 more. If the big boys are here, you could make a mad dash for 500, and then I have to drop a 50 bomb, because that'll put you 100 ahead of pace. And then tomorrow, all you got to do is worry about unlocking Madam playing A Quiet Place. I'm going to play A Quiet Place tomorrow afternoon. You guys are almost assuredly going to hit 500, no sweat. But you got a little bit of time. Let me take 2 more questions here. Zinthos says, do you think consoles will have a price drop at all this generation? No, I do not. Digital Foundry talked about this, and I felt like John Linneman's answer was quite good. I actually really like John, and I thought his answer was quite good. It was basically the question, is the PlayStation 5 Pro at this price, and is this because Xbox isn't competing or whatever? I forget how the question was phrased, but like a lot of people have been asking that question, right? Why is the Pro 700? Why isn't the PS5 coming down in price? And I thought his answer was quite good. He said nobody is dropping their prices right now. Xbox isn't doing it either. Across the board, tech is not lowering their prices because they can't. They're not like, Dr. Claw petting a cat, yes, more money. They're like, no, production, usually at this stage of production, mid-gen, you would be able to drop the price just naturally. And nobody's doing that. So, yeah, it's a bummer, but like, I think this is a common problem, I think, in gaming, is people will take a fact and misdiagnose the cause. Oh yeah, they're not dropping the price of their consoles. That's a fact. That is true. And they misdiagnose it. Greedy. Corporate greed. And if you talk about it with any semblance of intelligence or business analysis, you get called a corporate shill by people that have the intellect, of a 2-year-old. It's like just basic business analysis. If you look at like production cost, inflation, everything. JC is going to poke the line and say, let's do it. Come on, boys. He's like, now we just need 18 to get to 450. Thank you, JC. Going to make a mad dash. You guys have 3 minutes. 3 minutes. And we're going to the writer's room. So, yeah, the lack of a price drop, it sucks, but I don't think we can just diagnose it and be like, yep, they're just greedy, corporate greed, and John Linneman literally said it. He's like, they would like to lower their prices. It helps with sales. Like, it's in the interest of a company making a product to bring it to the market at a competitive price. That's something that is helpful. It's not helpful to be like, yeah, we can't lower the price of our stuff. Usually around this time in the gen, that's a helpful thing that they do. They lower the price, and it helps maintain sales curves. It's like, that's the issue, is I think people keep forgetting. It's like, they would probably like to lower the price, but there's just realities that keep them from doing so. All right, couple more likes, guys. Let's get to 400 likes. Let's take this last question, and then let's get out of here. If you were to do a documentary on gaming, what would it be? Jeepers. I honestly don't know. I went on a pretty lengthy monologue the other day just off the cuff about the metamorphosis principle. I think it'd be an interesting study, but I don't even know what you would call that. Like the idea that video games have existed in an environment where they're always advancing along with technology, and that bakes in expectations about games and what you're going to experience. And so it's kind of like with movies, like you've just expected the special effects to get better with time because they have. But what's interesting is, like, when you go watch a movie right now, you're not like, well, these special effects are not 1,000 times better than the last movie that I saw, so mid. Like, but we do that with games. A jump in performance and graphics is like inherently expected. So I think that'd be an interesting study into like just how much the symbiotic sort of tandem relationship that video games and technology have shared, like how much that has affected gamer expectations and perceptions of quality. Like how you measure quality in a game is super affected by that. So amazing content. Yo, COD lover, we got to get out of here. I don't want this to hit 3 hours, so that's it. That's 4:33. That's the buzzer. We got to go. I'm going to spam a link, and we are leaving. Thank you so much for the renewal, COD lover, 22 months. Hey, thanks so much for being a member and for supporting the channel. You've either watched and supported enough to get a gifted membership, and that's awesome. Or you're maybe paying for your own membership. If you're doing that, thank you so much. Double check if you're paying for your own that you're at Member Plus or VIP. Member Plus is only $6 instead of $5, and we are close. We keep getting closer and closer to having 600 people at Member Plus and above. When we hit that, I have to play the Dating Everything Simulator, and then I'll do a Saturday IRL stream. So we're well on our way to making me play A Quiet Place. And then if you hit the stretch goal, Madam has to play as well that night. I'm going to end the previous stream and redirect folks over to the writer's room. And then I'll make sure and change that thumbnail, because we are no longer